It's do or die for your Xenia Scouts. Win or go home here in the second round of the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League playoffs. Hello, everyone. I am Terry Lash alongside my broadcast partner, Lance Morris. And this is it for the Xenia Scouts. If they do not get the victory tonight against the Hamilton Joes, that will do it. And it'll be the Fat Lady singing on the 2015 summer of your Xenia Scouts. Hello, everyone, and welcome out to Grady's Field, home of your Xenia Scouts, as we are set to take on the Hamilton Joes for the sixth time this season. Scouts coming into the day with an 0-5 record against the Joes. Last night went down in Hamilton, lost 5-2 against the Joes. Stepping on the mound tonight for Xenia will be John Crawford. I haven't seen John Crawford pitch in quite some time in a competitive game for the Scouts. Last time we saw him was actually in Prasco Park in the Great Lakes League All-Star Games. We are about to ready start competition. Lance Morris, who's coming up for the Joes to start off this contest?
For the Joes, everyone in the lineup is the same from last night. Just a couple people switched their spots. Daniel Neff will lead things off. He'll play center field. Jackson Boyce, the second baseman, will bat second. And Andy Young, who hit cleanup yesterday, will hit third today.
So John Crawford on the mound, sports a 1.16 ERA on the season. First pitch to Daniel Neff, and we are underway here at 7:09 at Grady's Field. And what could potentially be the last game of the season for the Xenia Scouts, trying to fight their way back after losing game one of the three-game series. First pitch went for a ball. Second pitch finds the center of the zone, evening it up at 1-1 to the center fielder.
Neff went 1 for 3 in last night's game.
And Spacer also stole a couple of bases. That's 20 on the year now. 1-1 pitch from Crawford. That one's going to be driven to left center field, and that one's going to find the gap. Bounces once into the glove of Levi Gilcrease. Throws it to second in time, but a leadoff single for Daniel Neff. A different infield for the Xenia Scouts tonight. Christian Binger's last game with the team was last night. He replaced that second base by Austin Orr. Austin Orr, who we saw at the beginning of the year starting at shortstop, so dealing with shoulder injuries and hasn't been able to play back on the field until tonight, getting his first time starting at second base. He said he has no previous experience at second in his life. Now Jackson Boyce at the plate, first pitch swing, and he's going to bloop it in center field as well. So back-to-back singles to start the game for the black and gray of the Hamilton Joes. Hamilton in the black with the red numerals and yellow trim, gray pants. Xenia Scouts in their home baby blues and home whites.
And this Joes team is a team you know they're gonna hit the ball every which way across that diamond. The first 7 hitters all hitting over 300, and the last 2 hitting minus 282 and 295 in Zach Hummel and RJ Thompson. So every single person in this lineup can hit and do it pretty well.
Joes have been very successful this year, coming in with a 25-11 record. Daniel Neff is on the move. Pitch to Lincoln Reed behind the plate, and he's stolen third easily. Not even a throw from the catcher. Looks like to be an off-speed pitch, and Daniel Neff for the quick jump, and now runners on the corners with no outs. Scouts gave up 2 runs in the first inning in yesterday's contest off the arm of Dylan Donnelly. Trying to avoid giving up a big first inning here in game number 2. John Crawford on the mound. Now we see Boyce on the move. There's going to be a throw towards second base, and it's going to be up top, caught by Austin Orr. We will not see Daniel Neff move from third to home. Thought we might. And again, another stolen base. 2 stolen bases to 2 of the fastest players, not on this Joe's team, but in the entire Great Lakes League. Jackson Boyce now with 19 steals on the season. Neff with 21. Next pitch to Andy Young, misses outside. 3-0 now to the third baseman.
And at this point, with the count already being 3-0, first base open, might as well just throw another one outside of the zone and walk him. No reason to pitch to him with first base open.
Andy Young was named Player of the Year today. 3-0 pitch is going to be hit up high in the sky. Austin Orr calling off Cale Giddings, and it'll be a pop-up for the first out of the ball game. A good work from John Crawford on a 3-0 count. Gets a pop-up.
I think that's the first time this whole summer we've seen someone swing on a 3-0 pitch.
I think it is as well.
And that's because he was Player of the Year. So there's a reason for it. But it didn't work out for him that time.
Came in today with a league-high 8 home runs on the season. That's going to bring up Kevin Dupree. Went 2 for 5 yesterday First baseman for the Joes. First pitch from Crawford finds the outside corner for a strike. Perfectly placed ball from John Crawford, formerly of Bowling Green, then to Sinclair Community College, will now be playing at Indiana Tech. A one from Crawford. That one's going to be popped up top, floating backwards, and White Hogan will pick it up, and here comes Daniel Neff. Play at the plate, incoming, and in there easily is Daniel Neff after the sac fly from Kevin Dupree, and the Joes lead 1-0 here in the top of the first inning.
Now batting, right fielder number 11, Hunter Owen.
And remember, Wyatt Hogan playing left field, normally a first baseman. Not going to have the same arm as most outfielders you would normally see. That brings up Hunter Owen. Moves up one spot in the order tonight. Was number 7 yesterday. First pitch to Hunter Owen. Guess that technically makes him move up 2 spots.
I was about to say, Terry, your math's a little off.
Yeah, 1s and 2s. They can get you. 0-1 now after the swing and the miss from Hunter Owen. Jackson Boyd still sitting on second base. Next pitch to Owen is going to be ground towards third. Good pickup by Kyle Carnahan. Throw to first. In time. What a play by Kyle Carnahan. Was able to put the backhand on the line at third base. Throw in time to get out Hunter Owen. So the Joes will strand one, but not before they jump on the board first. We're heading to the bottom of the first inning. Hamilton leads the Xenia Scouts by a score of 1-0.
And with the way they were seeing the ball, those first few batters with Neff and Boyce, you'll take only giving up 1 run in that situation. You got Andy Young to pop out on a 3-0 count, right when he was completely ahead in the count. You don't see many guys swinging at 3-0, but Young, one of the few, if not the only player in the league to have the authority to swing on a 3-0 pitch. And then Kevin Dupree did exactly what he needed to do with a sac fly towards Wyatt Hogan out in left field and was just deep enough to score Neff from third after he stole third coming from second. So we'll take just giving up 1 run in that inning after the Joes started off pretty hot.
Zach Carey coming to the mound for the Hamilton Joes to start this ballgame. Lance, what can you tell us about the righty?
Zach Carey comes from Bowling Green State University. He was the freshman of the year in the Mid-American Conference. So this is a guy that is very capable on the mound. He's the number 2 guy in the Hamilton rotation, and he has been very great all summer long. He had 3 wins this season, and he's good every time he steps on that mound. We saw him earlier against the Scouts as well.
Undefeated on the year is Zach Carey with that 3-0 record. Thank you again for joining Lance Morris and myself, Terry Lash, for listening to Xenia Scouts baseball all summer long. Hopefully the Scouts can keep the good times rolling. And it'll be Austin Orr leading off tonight's contest. First pitch from Carey, and that one's going to be laid down as a bunt. Picked up by Carey, throw to first, and that one's going to be well away. Austin Orr is on his move to second base, and he's going to get there easily. Hold up there. So a bunt single for Austin Orr, advanced to second base on the error. Austin Orr starting off the day for the Baby Blue in a big way. Standing on second base as we see the first error tonight's contest after not seeing one all game yesterday.
And that was a great bunt there from Orr. He put it down, and I don't think anyone in their infield expected him to bunt on that first pitch. And we saw it when we went to Cincinnati. He tried to lay down the bunt, and he did it very well. Had 2 base hit bunts, and then almost had a third, and it was a close play at first. So Austin Orr definitely a very capable bunter at the plate.
And a lot of speed as the second baseman tonight. Good bulldog from Jackson. Here comes Kyle Carnahan at the plate. First pitch from Carey to Carnahan. Misses low, 1-0. Kyle Carnahan was named second team All Great Lakes League today in the designated hitter category.
We're not sure about that one either.
Gary looks at the plate, throws the 1-0, and that one's going to be driven into center field. Daniel Neff looking at it, and he's going to watch it go over his head, and that's going to be a ground rule double for Kyle Carnahan, and the game is evened up at 1 apiece after 2 hits from the Xenia Scouts, getting right back in this contest. 1-1 now here in the bottom of the first inning. The 2 batters of the Xenia Scouts both getting on second base. That time, Kyle Carnahan on the ground rule double to straight center field.
And that's something Coach Cates talks about all the time. It's something he talked about a lot at the start of the year. When you're the away team and they strike first, if you're the home team, you got to come back and at least even them up, if nothing else. And that's exactly what the Scouts have done here in the bottom of the first. It's a 1-1 score.
Kyle Carnahan, one of the 2 RBIs in yesterday's contest, and he has 1 tonight. Now David Gaunt to play. First pitch from Carey. That's going to be swung and popped up high in the sky. Andy Young giving chase. Going to call everyone off and put it away. So 1 pitch and an out. The first out of the ball game for the Xenia Scouts as David Gaunt flies out in foul territory.
The first baseman, number 10, Cale Giddings.
That's going to bring up Cale Giddings. Kyle Carnahan gets his lead at second base. It is a 1-1 ball game here at Grady's Field. First pitch from Carey to Giddings. Misses outside.
Cale went 1 for 3 in last night's contest.
He has 2 hits on the season against the Hamilton Joes. Both of them coming out Foundation Field. That Carey on the mound. Raises the Nike cleats and throws home and curves it right in there. Beautiful break to that pitch. Evens the count up at 1-1. Cloudy night here at Xenia High. We're hoping we don't see any rain or thunderstorms in today's ball game. That Carey looks at Carnahan at second. Back home. Back at Carnahan. Throws to Hummel at the plate. That one's going to be popped up high in the sky. Dupree calling everyone off. Or he will be able to put it away. Kyle Carnahan does not move from second base. Looks like there might have been a collision between Dupree and Jackson Boyce, the second baseman, but we're from Dupree extending his glove out as far as he could, and now 2 down for the Scouts after 2 straight pop-ups in foul territory.
Yeah, Cale definitely frustrated after that one. He was hoping that they would find a way not to get to that one, and once it was put away by Dupree, he was visibly angry as he probably could have made a better swing on that one.
That's going to bring up Lincoln Reed, a switch hitter. He's batting .400 in these playoffs. First pitch swung on and missed. 1-1 now to the third-year scout, Lincoln Reed.
Lincoln didn't play last night, but is 2 for 11 against the Joes.
Kind of a 2 for 5 night against the Grand Lake Mariners in the first round of these playoffs. Kyle Carnahan still sitting at second. 2 outs against the Scouts. That one's going to be driven into the glove of Jackson Boyce on the 1-half. Gets it to Dupree, and that will do it for the first inning, but not before the Scouts even up the score on an RBI ground rule double off of the hammer of Kyle Carnahan. And we're tied up, folks, going into the second inning.
And the only difference in those innings for the Joes and the Scouts was the error from Carey on the bunt from Austin Orr. Otherwise, everything's the same. 1 run scored, 2 hits, and 1 person left on base. Just a difference in that error.
And that one will not be earned to Carey because of the error. And I'll start off with the bunt single from Austin Orr and the hustle to get the second base off of the error. We've seen Austin Orr make plays that he shouldn't just because of his hustling. We've seen 2 drop third strikes turn into on-base opportunities for the Jackson Bulldog, because you never see Austin Orr on the field without giving it 110%. And we go to the top of 2. John Crawford still on the mound. Coach Case last night told me after the game in an interview that he'd like to see 5 or 6 from John Crawford. Will Cruz also available in relief. Cruz is not thrown out there today, and the Scouts will most likely see him starting on the bump tomorrow down at Foundation Field in the rubber match. And their winner-take-all third game of the Scouts will be victorious tonight. As we head to inning number 2, Lance, who's coming up for the Hamilton Joes?
Coming up for the Joes, they will be led off by their designated hitter, Jake Zimmerman, who, as we mentioned last night, was the MVP of the All-Star game and was also voted first team at first base. That will be Chad Jacob, the shortstop from Valpo. And it will be Zach Hummel. He's the catcher from Appalachian State.
Well, here comes Zimmerman. An uncharacteristic performance yesterday. That 0 for 4 did have a sac fly RBI. First pitch from the lefty Crawford. And gets him swinging at that one. Broke outside of the zone. We've seen Zimmerman take some mighty cuts in yesterday's contest. Just been a little behind these Scouts pitchers. 0-1 from Crawford. That one finds the strike zone as well. 0-2 now. Zimmerman goes down.
And we're kind of seeing the same thing we saw from Zimmerman last night when he was going against Dylan Donnelly. He's trying to put one out of the ballpark.
And the rise and deliver from Crawford. And he gets him swinging. A 3-pitch strikeout for the lefty, John Crawford. That'll be the third strikeout and 6 at-bats in these playoffs for Jake Zimmerman. You remember he came into yesterday's contest 9 for 17 against the Scouts. And here comes Chad Jacob at the plate. First pitch, he swings foul behind us. 0-1 now to the shortstop.
Jacob has been rotating in at shortstop. We've seen him the last couple nights. He's 4 for 10 against the Scouts.
And here comes the 0-1. That curveball does not drop in. 1-1 with 1 out here in a 1-1 ball game. Scouts and Joes tied in this elimination game for the Xenia Scouts. Next one driven to right field, but foul. Shortstop showing his pop on that one, but unable to straighten it out, so the lefty goes down 1-2 in this lefty-lefty battle. A couple of southpaws dueling it out. Here comes the throw from Crawford. Just able to tip that one off with Chad Jacob off the tippy top of his bat. 1-2 count, 1 out here in the top of the second inning. 1-1 ball game. Here comes delivery from Crawford. That one's fouled right behind us. If we're back at Foundation Field, Lance and I would be ducking because that'd be right about where we would have to get out of the way.
Just about. I'd say that's a pretty good estimation.
Crawford will step back in. Raises his right knee and fires inside, and that's a ball. Almost clipped Jacob. Well inside. And we'll do it again at 2-2. Crawford rises and delivers. That one is going to be fouled out of play.
So Jacob isn't missing by too much. He's fouled off a few pitches off of the throw from Crawford, so just have to see if he can time one up and put it into play.
Crawford working here against Chad Jacob. The windup and the pitch. Swung on and miss. 2 straight strikeouts for John Crawford.
Crawford isn't always going to go for the strikeout, but if the opportunity presents itself, he's definitely going to go for it with his 2 straight here in this top of the second.
And brings up Zach Hummel, the catcher. Well, 0 for 3 yesterday. Here's the one-up pitch from Crawford. That one misses outside. 1-0. And here comes the second delivery from Crawford against Hummel. That one, too, misses outside. Crawford getting behind early against the catcher, the Mountaineer from Appalachian State, Zach Hummel. 2 outs, 1-1 ball game, top of the second inning. Next delivery in there for a strike. Crawford with a lot of movement on that baseball. Confusing these Hamilton Joe hitters. Here comes the 2-1 delivery. And that one just misses outside. Good frame job from Lincoln Reed. Try to put it on the outside of the plate. Does not fool the ump at home. 3-1 count now to Hummel. Crawford rises and delivers. And that one a little too far inside. First walk of the game for John Crawford.
Now batting left fielder, number 2.
And these are the batters we talked about yesterday that you have to try to get out. And the Scouts were very successful. Zach Hummel, R.J. Thompson, the 8-9 hitters, the only players on the team not batting at least .327 coming into the playoffs. Went 0 for 7 yesterday. R.J. Thompson, left fielder, now at the dish. First pitch to the Bearcat from Cincinnati University just misses outside. 1-0 now to R.J. Thompson.
Thompson went 0 for 4 last night, 1 for 18 against the Scouts. Basically the only Joe's player to struggle.
Yeah. Is that you? Yep.
And here comes the 1-0 delivery. And that one misses up top from Crawford. Now 2-0. And after consecutive strikeouts to Jake Zimmerman and Chad Jacob, John Crawford has to step off the rubber to try to regain his composure. And here comes the 2-0 pitch from John. That one misses up top and outside. Now 3-0 to the 9-hole hitter, R.J. Thompson. And Daniel Neff sitting on deck right now. He singled and scored in the first inning. And the mentioned Thompson will be taking here. That one finds the center of the strike zone. 3-1 now to RJ. Scouts and Joes tied at 1 apiece. 3-1 pitch from Crawford misses way up top. Back-to-back walks to the 8-9 hitters. And now the Joes with 2 outs in a position to do some more damage.
The Scouts will now be very fortunate if the Joes don't find a way to make them pay because, as we mentioned yesterday and as you mentioned earlier, you cannot walk the last 2 batters in this order because they are the 2 players that aren't going to hurt you as much as the people up near the top of that lineup. So you have to take advantage when they're at the plate and find ways to get them to go down, and Crawford wasn't able to do that to either Hummel or Thompson.
It was a very windy day earlier here at Xenia, but the wind has settled down. You see Old Glory in right field, not moving very much. 2 on, 2 out for Daniel Neff in his second at-bat. Drives it right into the glove of Kyle Carnahan. Barely even had to move a muscle to put away the center fielder. It was an absolute screamer. And a screener right into the glove of Mr. Hot Corner.
That's a way to get out of the damage you caused yourself. After walking Hummel and Thompson, you have Neff line at first, pitch right to the glove with Kyle Carnahan down at third.
So that will be 2 more left on from the Hamilton Joes. We saw them leave, I believe, 13 runners on base yesterday. And left 3 on through 2 innings so far, including 1 in scoring position in Zach Hummel. And we'll head to the bottom of the second inning. We're still tied up at 1 apiece between the Xenia Scouts and the Hamilton Joes in this do-or-die game for the Scouts. Already trailing the Joes 1-0 in his 3-game playoff series in the second round of the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League playoffs. There's another game around the league in action tonight. The Licking County Settlers taking on the Lima Locos. Locos won game number 1 by a score of 5-1. It was their 9th straight victory, but that game will be delayed a little bit because the Settlers had a flat tire on their way.
Yeah, the game's at Licking County.
Game's at Licking County. Now I'm really thinking about that.
Or maybe they stayed the night in Lima, and that's the only reason I was
Lance and I discussed this earlier because we saw the Settlers tweet on Twitter, and as soon as I mentioned it now on air, I realized how much of a quagmire that whole situation is because
they must have stayed somewhere that is not local to Newark, Ohio last night. That's the only explanation, because why would the entire team be riding together otherwise?
I'm not sure what's going on at Don Edwards Field in Newark, Ohio, but we'll keep you updated as we imagine that game is going to happen at some point tonight. And we know this game's happening right now. Lance, who's coming up in the bottom of the second inning in this 1-1 ball game.
Coming up for the Scouts, it'll be led off by Levi Gilcrease, who is in his spot in the right-handed batter's box right now.
And the first pitch from Carey to Gilcrease in there for a strike.
After Gilcrease, it'll be the left fielder Wyatt Hogan and shortstop Jake McJilton.
Gilcrease riding a 9-game hit streak into tonight's contest. 0-1 from Carey. Misses a bit low in the turf. Evened up at 1-1 to the center fielder from Baylor. Levi in these playoffs hitting .222 through 2 games. Carey rises and delivers, and that one just misses outside. Again, a good frame job by Zach Hummel, just like we saw from Scouts catcher Lincoln Reed earlier tonight. And here comes delivery from Carey. That one is going to be chopped towards Boyce at second base. The All-Star picks up, throws it to first to put away the speedy Gilcrease.
Not too much Gilcrease could do on that one, Boyce. A very good defensive second baseman.
Right
that one right to him. Had to go across his body to field it, but nice play from Boyce on the routine ground.
Now here comes Wyatt Hogan, who is third in the team in batting average in these playoffs through 2 games, batting at .375, 1 for 4 yesterday, 2 for 4 against the Mariners. First pitch to him. Ball breaks back a little high for the zone. 1-0 now to the Warrior from Hendricks College.
And with Wyatt's hit yesterday, it makes him 1 for 12 against these Hamilton Joes.
Here comes the 1-0 from Zach Carey. Swing and a miss. Evened up at 1-1. We saw Wyatt Hogan take one to left field at Foundation Field, almost outside of the park, caught off the wall by R.J. Thompson. As we see the third pitch in this at-bat go low and away for a ball. 2-1 now to Wyatt Hogan.
And I got to be honest, the ominous sky out there in left field makes me worry about rain.
Very dark in left field as Wyatt Hogan is said to have checked his swing. There was an appeal to Ron Black at first base. 3-1 now. Austin has drawn 13 walks on the season. Here comes the 3-1. Chopped over towards third, but foul. Just a bit right of Andy Young, the All-Star. And as we found out yesterday, the Great Lakes Offensive Player of the Year, Pitcher of the Year went to Brady Boucher of the Licking County Settlers.
No surprise with either one of those selections. They've been great all summer long.
Full count, first of the day, payoff pitch from Carey. And that one misses outside. Hogan draws a one-out walk. Great at bat from the left fielder. Puts a scout on the bases here in the bottom of the second inning. It is a 1-1 ball game here with one out in the bottom of the second as Jake McJilton comes to the plate. And the skies continue to darken in left field. We see the contrast of the sky, left field, very dark. Right field, we still see some blue skies. First pitch to McJilton, right down the breadbasket, 0-1.
According to my weather app, just a 30% chance at 9 p.m. of thunderstorms.
And that lowered from a 40% chance we saw earlier. 0-1 to McJilton. That one is chopped backwards into the backstop. McJilton goes down 0-2. Jake went 2 for 4 yesterday, 3 for 3 in the first game against the Grand Lake Mariners, batting .714 in his first 2 games as a Xenia Scout. Came in to replace Lee Solomon, who is no longer with the team. 0-2. That was just swung in just to backwards. Good work from McJilton to stay alive on the fastball. Xenia Scouts playing with a brand new infield. Christian Binger, Lee Solomon man the infield for the vast majority of the season. Neither of the players on the ball club. 0-2 to McJilton, and that just misses him.
He must have just got out of the way of that one.
I think if McJilton had a Big Mac before the game, that would have helped him.
He did have a slushie before the game.
We were with him in his minivan. Wyatt Hogan on first. 1 out, 1-1 score. 1-2 now to Jake McJilton. And here comes the 1-2 pitch. That was low and in the turf. Good eye from Jake.
Let's go, Bob.
Evened up at 2-2 to the shortstop from Sinclair Community College, a transfer from Cedarville University. Not too far from here at Grady's Field. 2-2. That one's be hit right back up the middle and into the waiting glove of Daniel Neff. That one carried a little bit too far in the center, and now 2 down for the Scouts in the bottom of the second inning.
If you look back at some of his hits earlier on this week, he just managed to loop those ones into the outfield. That one he got actually too good of a piece of, and it just hopped out towards the glove of Neff in center field.
And that brings up Jonathan Bravo, who's done well against these Hamilton Joes on the year. 7 for 20 on the season. 1 for 4 yesterday. First pitch from Carey. That's when he swung on and hit high in the air to center field. Daniel Neff going to camp under it and put it away. So the Scouts put one on with a walk from Wyatt Hogan, but he's going to be left stranded on an island at first base. And we're headed to the top of the third inning. Still tied at 1 apiece.
So again, similar innings from each of these two teams. There was just an extra walk given to the Joes in the top of the second, and the Scouts managed to get one on with Wyatt Hogan drawing his first walk of the day, but not able to do anything with it as both McJilton and Bravo fly out to Neff in center field.
And if you're just starting to follow Xenia Scouts baseball, the Xenia Scouts play here at Grady's Field, which is all field turf. So if there is any rain, everyone will either run to the dugouts or under the mezzanine if you're a fan in attendance tonight. And we'll wait for the rain to pass, and we'll go out and play more baseball. The only way that the baseball will stop is if we have some lightning in the distance.
Gotta say, I was impressed you knew the word mezzanine because I would have no idea what to call what is hanging over our heads.
Sometimes I say mezzanine, sometimes I say grandstand. I don't know if either of those are correct, but I do say them. John Crawford coming out for his third inning. Tie ball game. 1-1 is your score. We're heading to the top of the third. Crawford, newly at Indiana Tech University, formerly of Sinclair Community College. Two Falcons started this game from Bowling Green. Crawford got there before Joe's pitcher, Zach Carey, did, so the two were never teammates. And now a lefty-lefty battle against Jackson Boyce, the Jaguar from IUPUI. That one's going to be chopped towards getting at first, and it stays fair. Just staying fair. Lucky break for the Xenia Scouts. Jackson Boyce didn't even attempt to run to first base.
I think Jackson Boyce thought that one was going to drift foul, as did I, but just managed to hug that first base line, and Kale was able to field that, take himself for the easy out for the first out of this top of the third.
Here comes Andy Young. First pitch from Crawford in there for a strike. A 1-1 ball game here in the top of the third inning. 1 out, no one on for the Hamilton Joes. Crawford with the 0-1 delivery. Now it's being chopped foul. Left of Daryl Grissom, who is standing at third base, the head coach of the Hamilton Joes. John Crawford already have 2 strikeouts to his name. Both of those back in the top of the second inning. Crawford with the windup and the pitch. Now once we hit high in the air. Austin Orr is going to be caught off from Jonathan Bravo in right field, and he'll put it away in shallow right field. Right near that right field foul line, and 2 up, 2 down for the Joes. Here in the meat of their lineup in the top of the third inning.
The first baseman, number 7, Kevin Dupree.
That brings up the second lefty of the inning. And it's a southpaw palooza as the lefty John Crawford winds and fires to Kevin Dupree. Swung on and missed. Brought out his sand wedge for that one and went golfing in the turf.
Dupree in his first at-bat hit a sac fly to Wyatt Hogan out and left. That scored net for the first run of the game for the Joes.
0-1 delivery. Breaks back, but too high. 1-1 now to the first baseman. It's a 1-1 ball game here in the top of the third inning. 2 outs, none on. And the swing and a miss from Kevin Dupree. Count is now 1-2. Crawford gets ready quickly. 1-2 pitch. That one's going to be high in the air. Kyle Carnahan going to get under it. Called off from Jake McJilton, and he'll put it away behind third base. And a 1-2-3 inning for John Crawford. And we're heading to the bottom of the third. Scouts and Joes still tied at a run apiece.
And that is big for the Scouts to get through the middle of that order. And you set down Boyce, Young, and Dupree. You can't ask for too much more to go down 1, 2, 3 in that top of the third.
Zach Carey coming out here in the bottom of the third inning. Giving up 1 run, not earned, due to the error that he threw back in the first inning. Austin Orr led off. The Scouts hitting with a single on a bunt. And he was advanced to second on the error from Carey, and then the ground rule double play to him.
And that's something that could possibly be changed in baseball. I don't know exactly how you'd regulate it, but if you're the pitcher and you throw the ball away for an error, couldn't you find a way to make that earned because it was your fault? Usually it's another fielder's fault, and that's why it's unearned, but that was of his own doing.
I actually had a conversation with this very topic with our roommate, Will Cruz, one night, and he told me sometimes you're thinking about as a pitcher, if I know he's going to score a run, I can just overthrow first base a little bit, and it's not going to count against me. So, it does cross the minds of the pitchers every once in a while. Maybe I should just throw a little bit too high for first base. Not far enough that I can advance a couple of runners, but enough where it wouldn't go against me. And we're back to the top of the order with the lefty, Austin Orr.
Austin Orr will get things started, and then it'll be Washer Nickabadu, Kyle Carnahan.
And the blooper from Austin Orr is not going to get past Chad Jacob. He is on his back pedal and puts it away.
So Kyle Carnahan will now come up to the plate after the flyout from Osnor, and after him will be his
Now
Washburn
batting
teammate
third
David
baseman,
Gaunt playing
number
DH for
16,
tonight.
Kyle Carnahan.
Kyle Carnahan had the best hit of tonight's contest. He had a ground rule double to center field. Grace field goes around 400 to center field, 397 to be exact. First pitch to Carnahan, and therefore a strike on 1 to the third baseman, making his 43rd start at third base on the year. Has not missed a single pitch for the Scouts. Next one goes inside from Carey. 1-1 now to Carnahan. It's a 1-1 ball game with 1 out here in the bottom of the third inning between the Scouts and the Joes. Scouts lose and they go home. Here's the 1-1 from Carey, and that one zips back into the strike zone. Nice break from Zach Carey, who just had that phenomenal year, a Falcon at BGSU, the MAC Freshman of the Year. 1-2 from Carey, misses to Carnahan, 2-2. Kyle Carnahan trying to get something going here in the bottom of the third inning in this tied ball game. Carey winds and delivers. That one's fouled up high, and will be put away by Jackson Boyce right behind second base.
Now batting
The sun's
the
peeking
designated
through
hitter,
here
number
at Brady's Field now,
17,
but still a lot of dark
David
clouds
Gaunt.
out towards left field.
I hear Lance chuckling, or at least see him, because Kyle Carnahan bat flip actually hit the home plate umpire. And the two had some words about it afterwards. And David Gaunt comes to the plate, and the sun is shining bright now all of a sudden with a dark back landscape. And the pitch is going to be lined into left field. Single for David Gaunt. A very different approach from David. Last few weeks, you've seen David take every single first pitch. Tonight, swinging on the first pitch in his first 2 at-bats.
And that's probably something that the Joes were aware of, so they thought, hey, you can just throw it over the plate for the first pitch. He's going to take it regardless, and he finally decided, nah, I'm just going to put it into left field for a base hit.
Brings up Cale Giddings, first pitch to the big man, and therefore a strike. 2 outs for the Scouts after Austin Orr and Kyle Carnahan popped up in the infield. Jackson Boyce in a first pitch single from David Gaunt. Now here comes Paul Bunyan. That one in the turf from Carey. 1-1, evened up to the first baseman. Cale batted .262 for the year, batting .167 so far in these playoffs. Member of the Storm of Lake Erie College in Painesville, Ohio, watches the next pitch break well outside the zone. 2-1 now to Cale. Giddings with a great eye at the dish. And David Gaunt gets his lead. 2-1. Swung on and missed, and that sends Cale down to his knees. Big hack from the big man. Cale Giddings evens up at 2-2. If he had an axe, that would have chopped down a redwood. David Gaunt stands off of first as Cale Giddings watches the next pitch. Mitch outside and low again. And we have another full count. Last time we saw a full count was to Wyatt Hogan, and he walked. That was the lone walk of the day for the Joes starting pitcher, Zach Carey. Here comes the payoff. Now he swung on and singled into left field. David Gaunt rounds second, but will be on his way back. So back-to-back 2 outs singles into left field from David Gaunt and Cale Giddings. Now the Scouts have an opportunity to take the lead in this contest.
Each of them did a great job of putting that one right into left field on a line. Same thing for Gaunt and Giddings, and now that brings Lincoln Reed up to the plate with runners on first and second with 2 down.
So 2 hits here in the bottom of the third inning. We're at a 1-1 ball game here in this fixture between the Scouts and the Joes. The switch hitter, Lincoln Reed, coming to the plate. One of 2 lefties. And I put an asterisk over the lefty of Lincoln Reed in the starting 9 for the Xenia Scouts. First pitch to Lincoln. Misses a tad bit low. 1-0 to the Trojan from Taylor University.
Lincoln in his last at-bat grounded out to Jackson Boyce at second base.
Lincoln transferred from Hillsdale College. We would have 3 Hillsdale College Chargers if he stayed with the team. 1-0 to Lincoln. Swung on and missed. As Lincoln swings the bat back into the shoulder afterwards. Frustrated with himself after that one. Knew it was outside of the zone.
Come on, Lynx.
Gone on second. Cale Giddings on first. Lincoln Reed at the dish. 1-1 ball game with 2 outs. We're here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Scouts trying to get their first lead of the day. 1-1 is going to be chopped, and it is foul. Good giddy up from Zach Hummel behind the plate. Trying to make it look like it was in fair territory, but it could not, and it'll be 1-2. Scouts down to the last strike of the 3rd inning. Lights shining bright here at Grady's Field again. It's like storm clouds surrounding us. Maybe some rain in the forecast. We'll have to find out. 2 on, 2 out, 1-2 count, 1-1 ball game. Carey looks at second, now back home. He winds and delivers. That one's well inside. Bounces away from Hummel, but the runners will stay at the respective bases. Gone at second. Cale Giddings at first, and the count is even up at 2-2. And the switch hitter steps back into the plate. Perfect chance for the veteran to give the Scouts their first lead of the series against the Hamilton Joes. 2-2. That one's going to miss it off of the glove of Zach Hummel, and he can only sigh in disbelief as he watches the ball bounce out of his glove and towards the D backstop here at Grady's Field. And now not only is it a full count to Lincoln Reed at the dish, both Scouts are in scoring position.
And that one just flat out popped out of the glove of Hummel. Wasn't too far out of the zone, but for whatever reason wasn't able to corral it, allowed the Scouts to move to second and third.
Hummel, a D1 baseball player at Appalachian State University, something you don't expect much from Zach Hummel. Payoff pitch incoming. The 3-2 from Carey. It's going to be swung and tipped backwards. We'll do it again. Payoff pitch 2.0 coming up from Carey. In the first 2 full counts, we saw a walk to Wyatt Hogan and a single from Cale Giddings in the last at-bat. Scouts trying to make a 3 for 3, getting on base in full count opportunities. Lincoln Reed swings his lumber back and forth. Here comes the payoff, and that one's going to miss outside, and the bases are chalked for Levi Gilcrease.
Now batting the center fielder, number 6.
That's the second walk of the ball game from Zach Carey. And there's going to be a meeting at the mound now. Still no activity in the Joes bullpen. Austin Orr and Kyle Carnahan started off this inning with 2 routine flyouts just outside of the infield, but ever since, Scouts have been rallying. A single from David Godin, a single from Cale Giddings, and a walk from Lincoln Reed on a full count has juiced the bases here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. It's a 1-1 ball game at Grady's Field. The sun shines on the field, but the clouds are dark in the yonder behind the trees that sit behind the fence here at Grady's Field.
We've seen it started off kind of more towards the water tower out in left field, and now it is since moved over a little bit more towards center field. Still dark over in that left field area, but not quite as dark as it was before.
And here comes Levi Gilcrease. Remember, he has a 9-game hitting streak coming into today. What better way to get number 10? First pitch swing. That's heading towards left center field. R.J. Thompson cannot get to it, and it's going to bounce over the wall. It's going to be a 2-run ground rule double as Lincoln Reed comes home. And that's the tough break, because if it was off of the wall, Lincoln Reed would have easily scored, but he's going to have to be sent back to third. But regardless, the 10th hit in a row in 10 games for Levi Gilcrease gives the Scouts the 3-1 lead and their first lead of the Joes in this playoff series.
Left fielder number 34.
And Levi always swings with all his might, no matter what the count is, and that's exactly what he did on that one. Belted that one out towards deep left and eventually popped over the fence for a ground rule double. Could have been 3 runs, but Scouts will have to settle for 2 as they take a 3-1 lead.
I think they'll deal. First pitch to Wyatt Hogan misses 1-0 to Wyatt. First base is open. Wyatt Hogan walked in the full count last time he was up. Now 5 hits in the day for the Xenia Scouts off of Zach Carey, who has not lost yet this year. 3-0 record. Next pitch from Hogan just misses, bouncing fair. A shade right of that third base bag. 1-1 now to the left fielder, Wyatt Hogan. Lincoln Reed on third base. Levi Gilcrease on second. Wyatt Hogan at the dish. 2 outs. All of the Xenia Scouts actions happen with 2 outs. 1-1 pitch. That one's going to be handcuffed backwards. Garrett threw it inside, got Wyatt out the hands, and he can only push it back into the netting right in front of the webcam. Scouts again down to the last strike of the third inning, but we've seen this story time and time again here in the third, and the Scouts have been delivering very positive endings. 1-2 count, 2 outs, 3-1. The Xenia Scouts lead the Hamilton Joes here in the bottom of the third. Wyatt Hogan at the plate. 1-2 from Carey. That one's going to be bounced behind Zach Hummel, and that's going to bring home Lincoln Reed. And the pass ball makes it a 4-1 score. And the second time we've seen in this inning a ball get by Zach Hummel and advance the runners.
And if you're the Scouts, why not take it? Lincoln Reed would have scored anyway if that ball didn't happen to bounce over that left field wall. So good way to get that run back.
2 ground roll doubles. And it's been a weird trend. When you have 1 ground roll double, you see another for the Xenia Scouts. As Wyatt Hogan grounds it towards Chad Jacob, and he puts him away. So Levi Gilcrease is left stranded on third, but not before the Scouts put a tray on the board. 3 runs in the bottom of the third inning. And now the Scouts lead by a score of 4-1 as we're heading to the top of the fourth. John Crawford coming back to the bump.
And usually a trend for the Scouts is when John Crawford pitches, they don't have as much run support as they typically do for their starters. So now Crawford has a little wiggle room after the first 3 innings have came and went. And now he has to have that fire going forward to know that right now he would be the winning pitcher if he can just keep along in this game.
John Crawford went 1, 2, 3 last time. I know Coach Kate said maybe 5 or 6, but if you keep Crawford pitching like this, why not keep him as long as you possibly can?
That's absolutely right. The Scouts don't want to really go to their bullpen unless they have to, with the limited amount of arms that the team has had pretty much all season long. And you know that we heard that Cruz can come in potential relief situation, but if the Scouts are up big, then they're going to avoid pitching Will Cruz because he's basically the only pitcher we have that can start tomorrow if the Scouts manage to win here today. So you're going to have to just hope that you can keep going along as you have been and that Crawford can go at least 5 or 6 innings.
John Crawford had the best start for a Scouts pitcher against the Joes this season. In the first game between these two teams, when he went 7 innings, they only gave up 2 earned runs in that contest. And so we're heading to the top of the 4th inning. First pitch from Crawford is going to be swung and is going deep and deep and deep in left center field. Levi Gilcrease on his horse and catches it at the wall. Levi Gilcrease smacks the wall, but catches the ball.
How? As Dewey likes to say, what can't he do?
Well, we know what he can do. He can run into left center field on a dead spring, reach his left arm up, grab the ball at the fence, take a full contact hit to the wall, fall down, and retain possession of the ball. So 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning after Hunter Owen charged that one. Now Jake Zimmerman at the plate. First pitch Zimmerman sees is for a strike. What a play from Levi Gilcrease. Scouts giving all they have with their backs against the wall. Next pitch from Crawford. Mitch is outside. 1-1 after the check from Zimmerman. Here's the 1-1 delivery from Crawford. That one's low in the turf. Bounces off of the body of Lincoln Reed, making it 2-1. Jake Zimmerman struck out on 3 pitches last time he was up. Chad Jacob on deck. He struck out last time as well. The 2 strikeouts for Crawford today. Next delivery. That one's going to be hit to deep left field, and that one's gone. Wyatt Hogan's not even going to give it chase. That one might be into the trees. That might be the most well hit ball we've seen all season long here at Grady's Field. And just like that, the lead is cut in half off of the big swing of Jake Zimmerman, who is struggling in this series no longer.
We've seen it time and time again with Zimmerman. We've seen him struggle like we did last night. We've seen him go 3 for 4 consistently against these Scouts, and he's been putting home run things on the ball all series long, and he just had to find a way to get a hold of one, and he put that one over that left field wall.
First hit for the Joe since the top of the first inning. Next pitch to new batter Chad Jacob. First pitch is fouled back into the netting in front of us. 0-1 now to the shortstop. Let's see how Crawford responds after giving up the homer. Here comes the 0-1. Finds the inside corner. 0-2 now to Chad Jacob, trying to strike out the shortstop for the second time today.
So far, he's responding very well.
Here comes the 0-2 delivery. That one low and in the turf. Makes it 1-2 to Jacob. Chad Jacob from Valparaiso University, Indiana. Here comes the 1-2 from Crawford. Swung on and missed. And Chad Jacob will be struck out for the second consecutive time. 3 strikeouts on the day for Crawford. And yeah, I'd say he responded pretty well.
Definitely responded very well after giving up a solo home run to Zimmerman. He comes back and gets Jacob to strike out on a 1-2 count.
They pretty much if Levi didn't drop that, it's a 1-run game right now.
So Zach Hummel at the dish. He walked last time. The 8-9 batters were both walked. RJ Thompson sitting on deck.
1-2.
And here comes the throw from the southpaw. That one in the turf. 1-0 to Zach Hummel.
Yes.
Scouts lead 4-2 here in the top of the 4th inning. Here comes the 1-0 delivery from Crawford. Well outside. There's just something about Zach Hummel that's really giving John Crawford fits on the rubber. That home run given up to Zimmerman was Crawford's first of the season. 2-0 pitch. Misses up top. Now 3-0 to Zach Hummel.
I think there's also potentially something about when there's 2 outs, knowing that you're just 1 away from getting out of the inning. I think that might be something to do with Crawford.
And here comes the 3-0. That one delivers right down the equator. 3-1 to Zach Hummel. Scouts need to win this game or the season is over. We're up 4-2. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. That one's going to be hit high in the air. Jake McGilton get back and will put it away after an extended stay behind second base. That one hung up in what seemed like an eternity in the air. But not be, it puts it away. And not before another Jake Zimmerman belted a home run way the left field.
It was quite a segue, Terry.
Jake to Jake. Not Jake from State Farm. Jake McGilton and Jake Zimmerman.
Okay, that was just not necessary.
Forced. Definitely forced. They deserve better than that at home. We're heading to the bottom of the 4th inning. As I believe we have a pitching change out there. We're trying to figure out who is on the rubber.
Adam Schmay.
So we're still trying to find out the new pitcher. It'll be Chris Teixeira. Chris Teixeira coming on the rubber. Lance Morris and I tried to do some sign language up here in the press box, nonverbal communication.
I said the right number the whole time. You just didn't get it.
I couldn't figure it out. But regardless, we're heading to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Xenia Scouts lead 4-2 with Chris Teixeira coming to the game. Kind of surprised to only see 3 innings out of Zach Carey. Are you, Lance?
I'm definitely surprised. We've seen him go at least 5-6 innings strong most of his starts. So the fact that he pulled a little early tells us that the Joes are concerned that this one could get out of hand if he kept throwing the way he did.
Yeah, it definitely looked like the Scouts hitters had a line on Zach Carey in tonight's contest. Remember, this was the 6th start for Carey. 3 of those starts resulted in victories. Chris Teixeira comes in today's game with a 6.93 ERA. And Jake McGilton steps up to the plate. Teixeira, a Red Hawk from Miami University. Here comes his first pitch. That one right down the center to Jake McJilton, who flew out to center field last time.
Jilton will lead things off, then it'll be Jonathan Bravo, then top of the order with Austin Orr.
And the next pitch is going to be grounded towards Boyce at second, thrown to first in time. McJilton is set for the second time in tonight's game.
And that doubles up the amount of times he's been thrown out on the base pass as well.
Right fielder number 7.
Jake McJilton, who's been an all-star in these playoffs so far, was the player of the game the last 2 nights. And he's going to interview him last night down at Foundation Field in Hamilton. Remember, the Scouts will play at 7:05 tomorrow night if they win the game. Jonathan Bravo swings at the first pitch foul. Bravo batting in the 9 spot tonight. Facing an 0-1 count, flew out to center field. In his first at-bat, Teixeira raises that big left leg and finds the outside corner just barely. 0-2 now to Jonathan Bravo, the Ram from Texas Wesleyan University. Here comes the 0-2 from Teixeira. And that one just misses a tad bit low. 1-2 now to Bravo.
That one didn't miss by much as Hummel was getting ready to throw it down to third for around the horn.
He thought he got the first strikeout from Teixeira. 1-2, and that's going to be the first strikeout for Teixeira as he blows it right by Bravo. Beautiful pitch from the Red Hawk, Chris Teixeira. Teixeira is 6'4" righty, stands at 210 pounds, going to his senior year from Milford, Ohio. Has faced the Scouts a couple of times this season. Has 3 total innings against the Scouts, and then where he's only given up 2 hits. Now Austin Orr at the plate watches the first pitch go for a ball.
And they must be hoping for at least a couple innings out of him here today as he comes in the 4th.
1-0 to Orr. Swung on. That one's going to get by Teixeira at the mound, and now Jackson Boyce picks it up at second, throws it in time to Dupree, who dug it out with his shovel at first base. And we're heading to the top of the 5th inning after the Scouts go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 4th, but still lead today's contest by a score of 4-2.
Scouts, come on, Johnny, be there, baby.
So we'll have to see if we can get another good inning from Johnny Crawford on the mound. He did fairly well last inning outside of the solo shot from Zimmerman, so hopefully he can settle down. He'll get started against the bottom of the Joes lineup and R.J. Thompson before he goes back up to the top of the order with center fielder Daniel Neff and second baseman Jackson Boyce.
And we still don't see any activity in the Scouts bullpen. The Hamilton Joes already on their second pitcher after Zach Carey only went 3 innings.
I would think at this point Crawford goes at least 6, if not potentially 7, depending on how his pitch count and how the flow of the game is going up to that point. So if things keep going the way they are, I would expect to see at least 6 out of Crawford.
And he's only thrown 1 really bad pitch on the 9th. The one we saw back in the top of the 4th inning was Jake Zimmerman. Flew to left field and might still be going at this point. He might have hit that one to Dayton. We're not quite sure.
It's a solid possibility.
Scouts lead 4-2. We're here in the top of the 5th inning. As Lance mentioned, R.J. Thompson coming up to the dish in this lefty-righty battle.
Joe's left fielder number 2, R.J. Thompson.
Thompson walked in his last at-bat. Here comes the first pitch from Crawford here to start the top of the 5th inning. That one misses well outside. 1-0 from Crawford. Scouts up 4-2 here in the top of the 5th inning. 1-0 pitch misses high as well. Crawford right now playing attic, needs to get back down to the kitchen. 2-0 from the lefty. That one finds the inside corner. R.J. Thompson kind of crowds the plate a little bit. He's upset, thought that one was a little too inside or right on the zone from Crawford. 2-1. Finds the outside corner this time, going inside, outside. Missing up his pitch locations. 2-2 to Crawford. And Crawford misses in the turf. Now 3-2. No outs here.
Come on, Johnny.
So a full count here. And here comes the payoff pitch from Crawford. That one's going to be swung and fouled backwards. That one looks like it might have been outside of the zone. This will be the first full count of the day for the southpaw.
Come on, Johnny.
Recent Indiana Tech attendant John Crawford. That pitch is going to be flown up high, and Austin Orr with the late call off of Cale Giddings puts it away. Better late than never, though. And 1 up, 1 down here in the top of the 5th.
And with Austin Orr, as we mentioned earlier, it's his first start at second base in at least any professional type setting. He said he hadn't played it in quite some time. I'm sure he played it at some point growing up, but not a position he is used to. He's more used to being in the other side of that infield over at shortstop.
Now Daniel Neff coming back to the plate. We're in the top of the batting order for the 3rd time for the Joes. First pitch from Crawford in the upper part of the strike zone. Now 0-1 to the center fielder. Neff lined down the first pitch to Kyle Carnahan last time he was up. Here comes the 0-1. Swung, and that's going to be ground towards McJilton at short. Picks up, throws to first in time. Beautiful fire from the shortstop, Jake McJilton.
And if you look at last night's box score, McJilton didn't have a single ball hit to him at short. That was something he actually was talking about in the van ride earlier today. He said, I didn't have a single ball hit to me, and he finally got what he wanted for him.
That's very uncommon for a shortstop, as next pitch to Jackson Boyce is going to be blue towards left field into the waiting glove of Wyatt Hogan, who came in on the trot. So 3 up and 3 down for the 2nd time today. And we're heading to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Xenia Scouts still lead by a score of 4-2 over the Hamilton Joes.
And aside from the long at-bat to Thompson, got Neff to go down on an 0-1 count and got Boyce first pitch swinging. And Boyce has been first pitch swinging each time he's came up to the plate. So that's been a 3 at-bat trend for Boyce here today.
Going into the bat with Jackson Boyce, he had 65 pitches thrown. So 66 pitches thrown from John Crawford. So they could keep him going for at least the 6th inning, maybe the 7th, depending on how long they want to throw him. We wouldn't need him unless we played in the next series. So maybe Coach Gates can get as much out of the lefty as physically possible. John Crawford has been outstanding this year. An all-star for the Xenia Scouts. One of 3 all-stars on this pitching staff. Ben Aldridge and Q McGrath the other. Down at Prasco Park, Crawford faced 4 batters and retired 3 of them. The other one was a walk, so didn't give up a hit in his appearance. Not a single Scouts pitcher gave up a hit. They were fantastic down at Prasco Park. Back when the Joes and Scouts were teammates, and now battling each other to try to eliminate each other in the semifinals in the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League playoffs. Scouts.
Kyle Carnahan will lead things off.
Number 16,
David Gaunt.
Kyle Carnahan.
First baseman Taylor Giddings will be the first 3 hitters. There's Xenia Scouts here in the bottom of the 5th.
As Lance mentioned, Kyle Carnahan up to the dish. Looks like the dark clouds have left us a little bit here at Grady Seal. First pitch from Carnahan. Foul right in front of us into the netting.
Dark clouds have now shifted over towards right field, but they're not as dark as they were.
We actually see a little bit of light poking through over center field. Beautiful night here at Grady Field. 0-1 to Carnahan. Watches the pitch from Teixeira curve right into the zone. 0-2 now to start off the bottom of the 5th inning. Scouts still leading by a score of 4-2, doubling up the Joes. Teixeira gets his pitch from Hummel, delivers the 0-2. Now it's going to be chipped right back at him off of his thigh. Jackson Boyce scrambling for it, bare hands, throws to first, and he's safe. Kyle Carnahan beats it out. A single bounced off the leg of Chris Teixeira. Jackson Boyce running one direction, switches directions, shows off his agility. Bare hands it, throws it to first, but not in time. And it's going to be infield single for Kyle Carnahan. First hit of the day given up by Chris Teixeira. He went 1-2-3 in this first inning of work. Now Kyle Carnahan, who has been struggling recently, is 2 for 3 in tonight's ball game. Struggle no more. First pitch to David Gaunt just misses the outside corner. 1-0 now to the designated hitter, David Gaunt. David, who was playing right field last week when Jonathan Bravo was hurt, faces a 1-0 here. Watches the same pitch, miss outside again. 2-0 now to Gaunt.
Gaunt was voted first team catcher in the Great Lakes Summer League.
He's only 2 first-team players on the team, Ben Aldridge being the other. Carnahan, his teammate at Washburn University, the 2 Ichabods. In play right now. Gone watches the next pitch go right down Main Street for a strike. 2-1 now to David. Kyle Carnahan gets his lead at first. Scouts lead 4-2 here in the bottom of the 5th inning as a pickoff attempt from Teixeira. Carnahan slides back into the pellets, but is in plenty of time. A retake his lead. The big righty throws a 2-1. That one's low. 3-1 now to David Gaunt. 2 walks in this day from the Hamilton Joes. Both were given up by Zach Carey. And here comes 3-1 delivery. Carnahan on the move. A hit and run, and that's going to get past Kevin Dupree. Kyle Carnahan gets the third. David Gaunt with a single. And it wasn't a well-hit ball, but it's going to result in a very, very effective single.
Now batting first baseman number 10,
to be on the
Kale
Dupree was
Giddings.
just in a bad fielding position, and that one got right by him, and not much he could do on that one. He put himself in a bad spot and allowed David Gaunt to get on with the single and was able to advance Carnahan to third. Runners at the corners for Kale Giddings.
So back-to-back singles from the Ichabods. Kale Giddings in a position to extend this 4-2 lead with no outs. 2 on the bottom of the 5th. First pitch to Giddings drops back into the zone. 0-1 to the big man.
Kale 1 for 2 so far today. Had a base hit back in the 3rd inning.
Again, thank you for listening to Lance Morris and myself, Terry Lash, here in playoff baseball as the ball bounces in the turf. David Gaunt easily gets to second base.
Yeah, David was going for the steal on the 1st and 3rd situation anyway, and then with it out of the reach of Hummel, was easily able to get to second.
So a 1-1 count now at the dish to Kale Giddings. Both Ichabods in scoring position. Kyle Carnahan at third. He had the single, as did David Gaunt, his teammate. He stands on second after the steal. 1-1 to Giddings. Chris Teixeira standing on the left side of the rubber looking at home plate. Looks at third, now throws to Zach Hummels, and that one's missing low and outside as well. 2-1 now to Kale.
And that one, a very nice stop from Hummel to reach across to stop that one, and that would have easily scored Carnahan had that got past him.
Now it looks like someone turned off the lights as it gets really dark here in Xenia, Ohio. 2-1 from Teixeira. That one drops just into the zone. I think Giddings saw that might be a little up, but the big man has a big strike zone. 2-2 evened up to Kale Giddings. Scouts up 4-2, no outs, 2 runners in scoring position. 2-2 pitch, swung and miss. Kale Giddings goes down swinging, the second strikeout of the night for Chris Teixeira.
Next up to the plate for your Xenia Scouts.
That's going to bring him Lincoln Reed.
Number 20, Lincoln Reed.
And Lincoln Reed in the same position he was last inning. 2 runners on. First base open. He was walked on the 3-2 count that loaded the bases.
Come on, Link.
But Levi Gilcrease, who's sitting on deck, who then hit that 2 RBI ground rule double. Joe Zenfield playing way in. Carnahan on third. Gaunt on second. 1 out. First pitch to Lincoln Reed. He swings and misses. Or it might have been a foul tip. Good hat tip to Lance Morris. 0-1 now from Teixeira to Lincoln Reed. The switch hitter waves his bat, and the pitch is a bit low. 1-1 now to Lincoln Reed.
Usually we've seen Lincoln first pitch swinging, and it'll pop it into place somewhere. And even though he was first pitch swinging, this time he just fouled it off and a little more patient on that second pitch.
Scouts up 4-2 with 1 out, 2 on here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 1-1 from Teixeira. That's when we grounded fair right along the first base foul line. That's going to score Carnahan. Here comes David Gaunt. There's going to be a play at the plate. He slides. He's safe. David Gaunt slides past the tag of Zach Hummel, and the Scouts now lead 6-2.
And this is exactly what the doctor ordered for these Xenia Scouts. The bats did just enough to be competitive last night.
Levi
Kind of faded out towards the end, but the Scouts bats have been working all day long here at Grady's Field.
These 6 runs that the Xenia Scouts have scored so far today would tie them for the most they've scored against the Hamilton Joes in the game this season. They lost the first contest between these two squads by a score of 7-6. Lincoln Reed with a 2 RBI single, absolutely kissing that first base line, somehow able to have a tiptoe in, a pickoff attempt towards Lincoln at first. He's back in plenty of time. Levi Gilcrease back at the dish. 6-2 lead for the Scouts. Christian Sherrick in his first pitch to Levi Gilcrease right down the equator for a strike. 0-1 now to the Bear from Baylor University. Lincoln Reed sitting at first. Bunt attempt shown by Gilcrease. He lays it down. Perfectly laid down bunt, but no foul. Just rode down foul. Would have been an easy bunt single. Just straight a little to the left of that third base line. I think a hard gust of wind would have kept that one in fair territory.
That one did not go foul by very much. So smart play by the fielding of the Joes to make sure that one rolled foul, because otherwise Levi would have been safe easily at first.
I've seen Levi Gilcrease throw down a bunt in BP that was foul, that rolled fair. We might have saw it there. Zach Hummel didn't sprint out and grab it. Now Levi facing an 0-2 count from Chris Teixeira. Here's the 0-2 delivery. Swung on and missed. Beautiful breaking ball from Teixeira. Gets Levi to strike out.
Now batting
only the second out of the inning, though. Also the second strikeout of the inning for Chris Teixeira, who now has 3 on the day. Wyatt Hogan at the plate. He grounded to Chad Jacob as short his last time up. That ended the bottom of the 3rd inning. We're here in the bottom of the 5th. Scouts leading 6-2 after putting 2 on here on the 2 RBI single off of the bat of Lincoln Reed. Reed 1 for 2 in today's contest with a walk. Came in today batting .400 in the playoffs and will be raising that .400 average. And that pitch to Wyatt Hogan is driven to center field. Daniel Neff looks like he's going to get under it in deep center and will put it away. So a good charge from Wyatt Hogan. That will go for the last out of the 5th inning. Lincoln Reed stranded at first, but not before he makes it a 6-2 ball game. The Scouts tripling the Hamilton Joes in this do or die contest. The Scouts trying to play game number 3 tomorrow down in Hamilton at Foundation Field. Not ready to give up this summer yet.
And the guys have been hitting the ball incredibly well in that last inning. Carnahan reached with an infield single. Gaunt got himself on with a base hit and then stole second to put runners at second and third. But Kale struck out, but Lincoln Reed came in and did what he needed to do, put it just down that right field line to somehow stay fair, and that scored both Carnahan and Gaunt. And then Gilcrease went down swinging, and Hogan flew out to Neff in center field to end that bottom of the 5th.
Xenia Scouts with a 6-2 lead. Something Lance and I talked about earlier in the broadcast. What would happen if John Crawford got run support? Well, John Crawford got his run support tonight. 6 runs from the Xenia Scouts, the most runs that have been scored in a single game that John Crawford has pitched in.
Well, what I discussed with Terry earlier as well was I said there's 1 or 2 and potentially both of these things that could happen for the Scouts to win. Was 1, if Crawford went out and pitched an absolute gem, which he's done a pretty good job of outside of the solo home run to Zimmerman, and both Kyle and David would have to have himself great games, and each of them are 2 for 3 right now. So both of the things that I said would need to be in place for the Scouts to win are doing pretty well thus far through the ballgame.
Coach K said last night that the Scouts had to string together a couple hits and some innings to get some runs on the board to beat the Joes, and that's just what they've done. As we start the top of the 6th, first pitch from Crawford occurs in for a strike. Lance, who's coming up for the side for the Joes.
Coming up for the Joes, Andy Young will lead things off. He's at the plate currently. Then Kevin Dupree and Hunter Owen.
Second pitch from Crawford. That one's low on the turf. Lincoln Reed adjusts and puts the ball into his mid, throws it back to Crawford, and we'll do it again at 1-1. Scouts leading 6-2 here in the top of the 6th inning. Crawford races and fires. That one a little too far inside of Young. Andy Young, who came in today 8 of 16 against these Xenia Scouts. 2 for 3 yesterday. He's 0 for 2 in tonight's contest with a couple of flyouts. 2-1 is going to be chopped towards Carnahan, but foul. not stay in fair play and be evened up at 2-2 to the third baseman.
And Andy Young's been hitting well against every single team in the league, so no surprise that he's just under 500 against the Xenia Scouts.
Young leads the league in home runs with 8. Second in the league in RBIs to David Gahn, the Scouts catcher. 2-2 from Crawford. That one's going to be fouled out of play towards the Joe's bullpen, a shade to the right of it. Bounces off the cart path, and we'll do it again at 2-2 off the arm of the southpaw, John Crawford, having an unbelievable start for the Xenia Scouts, trying to save the season. Here comes the 2-2. That one a bit low. Full count from Crawford, only his second full count of the day. The last time he had a full count was to R.J. Thompson, who flew out to second base. Here comes the 3-2, and that one misses up top. That's going to be the third walk of the day for Crawford. And now Andy Young sits on first base.
And that's something you're going to live with if you're Johnny Crawford, because out of all the things that can happen when you bring Young up to the plate, right in the middle, it would be walking. You'd rather do that than give him something that he can crush over that left field fence. 3
strikeouts and 3 walks on the day for Crawford. And here's Kevin Dupree at the plate. Hits right towards Austin Orr. Flips it to McJilton at short and to Cale Giddings at first. The 4-6-3 double play empties the bases. Orr to McJilton to Giddings. Something we did not think we'd ever say at the start of the season, mainly because McJilton and Giddings were on the team and Austin Orr was the shortstop.
Definitely a little different double play ball than we've seen throughout the season. Orr was working on those earlier today, but they were thrown to him, not to McJilton.
First pitch to Hunter Owen in the right field. That's going to be chopped towards Crawford. Picks it up off the mound. Throws to first in time. 1, 2, 3 inning in back-to-back innings for the lefty, John Crawford, who has been nothing short of magical in his start here at Grady's Field.
And he worked it to a full count against Young, but got both Dupree and Owen to swing at their first pitch to ground out. So he's went 6. There's a potential we could see him to throw at go 7. We do see some action in the Scouts bullpen, but it seems like they're just getting loose. They're not hard throwing off of a mound quite yet. So we'll have to see if we see Crawford for another inning.
So we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Your Xenia Scouts lead by a score of 6-2. That 4-6-3 double play from Orr to McJilton to Giddings really saved that inning after the leadoff walk. Crawford on the day has thrown 75 pitches, so you have to think very capable of coming back for the 7th inning. We saw him go 7 innings the last time he played the Hamilton Joes. Gave up 2 runs in that contest. And he's given up 2 runs so far tonight against the Joes. All right, Lance, who's coming up for the Xenia Scouts here in the bottom of the 6th?
Coming up for the Scouts, it'll be the same order we had coming up to the plate in the 4th inning. Jake McJilton will lead things off the shortstop. Jonathan Bravo, and back to the top of the order. Second baseman, Austin Orr. It's a little weird saying second baseman, Austin Orr.
And here comes the first pitch from Teixeira to McJilton in there for a strike. Last time Teixeira saw Jake at the plate, Jake grounded to Jackson Boyce at second on an 0-1 count. Here's the 0-1. That one's going to be fouled back into the net. McJilton goes down 0-2. Jake McJilton, who was called in to the Xenia Scouts 3 games ago. This is only his 3rd game. That next pitch from Teixeira misses low, 1-2 to the shortstop. Scouts up 6-2 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. No one on, no one out. 1-2 pitch, and that one's in the turf as well. Jake McJilton with his eagle eye makes it 2-2. Chris Teixeira, the 6'4" righty, delivers the 2-2. That one's going to be fouled out of play, so good work from McJilton staying alive here on this 2-2 count.
He started off 0-2, has since worked it back to 2-2, so he's done a good job staying patient as that bat.
And here comes the 2-2 from Teixeira again. That one's going to be chopped towards Jackson Boyce at second. Picks it up on a couple of hops and in time to get out McJilton to 2 straight times that Jackson Boyce has retired the Scout shortstop.
Now batting the right fielder, number 7, Johnny Bravo.
And that brings up Jonathan Bravo. Bravo today is 0 for 2, struck out. Last time he was up, one of 3 strikeouts for Teixeira today. First pitch to Jonathan. That one's a miss well outside. That one curves outside of the glove of Zach Hummels. 1-0 to the right fielder. Jonathan Bravo has played most season on left field. He plays Miles right in right field after he went down with injury. Next pitch misses well inside. 2-0 from Bravo. Chris Teixeira still on the bump for the Joes, trailing 6-2. Bravo way out ahead of that one. 2-1 now to Jonathan Bravo. Scouts need to win this game or the season's over. Up 6-2, 2-1 pitch. That one's way up top. 3-1 now to Jonathan. As you may see some dark clouds again here at Grady's Field. 3-1 delivery. That one is a tad bit low. Teixeira can't believe it. He's left slack-jawed, and that leaves Jonathan Bravo on first base.
That was a good job by Bravo staying
Back to the
patient.
top
He
of
had
your Xenia Scouts
two
batting
pitches for his
order.
first 2
Second
at-bats, but
baseman, number 9,
hands off to
Austin
Wait at the plate, and he gets out with the walk.
Now Austin Orr at the plate. Jonathan Bravo does have some speed at first base. Austin Orr 1 for 3 today. First pitch to him. Finds the outside corner, does Teixeira. Now 0-1 to the second baseman from Union University in his hometown of Jackson, Tennessee. Pickoff attempt, Bravo back in plenty of time. Kevin Dupree had the ball, but did not apply the tag even. Oh, 1 to Austin Orr. That one's going to be driven right to the glove of Jackson Boyce. Bravo slides in time, just getting back before Jackson Boyce was able to double him up. Boyce was able to catch that ball in the top of his glove, throw it to Dupree. Bravo back in time, but Austin Orr will be retired for the 3rd straight time.
And it's a good thing Bravo wasn't just a step further off of that base. Otherwise, he probably would have been doubled up on that lineout.
And here comes Kyle Carnahan. He singled last time, 2 for 3 today. Another pickoff attempt from Bravo at first. And here's the first pitch to Kyle Carnahan. That one's fouled out of play. Kevin Dupree gives it chase, but will watch it drift aimlessly. Jonathan Bravo, who walks, stands on first base. The Scouts lead 6-2 here in the bottom of the 6th inning against the Hamilton Joes in the second game of this 3-game playoff in the semifinals in the Great Lakes League playoffs. Next pitch to Carnahan is going to be hit towards Andy Young as second. Throws to Jackson Boyce in the 5-4 fielder's choice will end the 6th inning. So Jonathan Bravo walks on, but no hits that inning for the Xenia Scouts, and they leave 1 aboard. And we're heading to the top of the 7th, still leading the Xenia Scouts are by a score of 6-2 over the Hamilton Joes, and John Crawford will come back to the rubber.
So don't know how long the leash is for Crawford here. As we enter the top half of the 7th, we still see some action. And the Scouts bullpen looks like Thomas Wanning is out there getting loose. He appears to be the only pitcher out there throwing. So I have to think if we do see too much trouble on Crawford, that they would go to the bullpen here in the 7th.
You can absolutely do it.
John Crawford throwing an absolute gem here in this contest through 6 innings. He has 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. He's only given up 3 hits in the game and has given up 2 earned runs. One of those 3 hits being that solo shot off the bat of Jake Zimmerman, who just happens to be coming to the dish.
Oh, of course he is. That would make perfect sense. Zimmerman will lead things off here in the top of the 7th. And after him will be Chad Jacob, the shortstop from Valpo. And then the catcher from Appalachian State, Zach Hummel, will be the 3rd batter this inning for the Joes.
Now here comes Zimmerman. That was a 2-1 pitch that hung up in the middle of the zone that Zimmerman just absolutely belted over the left field wall last time he was up. See what Crawford has in store for Zimmerman here. Has struck him out today. First pitch of Zimmerman just misses that outside corner. Barely missing his spot. 1-0 now. The lefty will work. Crawford winds and fires. That one misses well outside. 2-0 now to Zimmerman. Scouts up by score 6-2. We're here in the top of the 7th inning. You're listening to Xenia Scouts Baseball with Lance Morris and myself, Terry Lash. Here comes the rise and 2-0 pitch. Just finding the inside corner. I want it to be pretty well inside. Maybe a lucky break for Crawford. Crawford raises that right knee, delivers a 2-1. That one's popped up high into the night sky. And Mick Jelton will put it away at shortstop. Zimmerman now 1 for 3 in tonight's contest after the pop-up.
Hey, what's Johnny Crawford's pitch count? Jeff?
Chad Jacob now coming out to the dish. He's 0 for 2 today with a couple of strikeouts. And here comes the first pitch inside for a ball. Jacob was 2 for 5 yesterday, 327 hitter on the year, struggling tonight. Next pitch just misses inside, not by much. Crawford thought he had him there. Now 2-0 to the shortstop, Chad Jacob.
And that's just 80 pitches for Crawford today.
And here comes the 2-0 delivery. That finds the inside corner. 2-1 now. Crawford trying to work his way back and try to get his 3rd straight 1-2-3 inning. 2-1 delivery. That one just misses. I think everyone in the infield thought Crawford hit that spot, but it's a 3-1 now to Chad Jacob. The windup and the throw from Crawford. That one's going to be trickled towards Austin Orr's second. Picks it up on the hop, throws the Giddings in time at first base. 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the 7th inning.
And that's the first straight ground ball we've seen towards Austin Orr at second. And
that brings
that
up
one
the
pretty
catcher,
nicely.
number 20, Zach Hummel.
That's the first throw that Orr has made to first base, and that was a good job by Austin. He looked very calm in that spot as Zach Hummel comes to the dish. Zach 0 for 1 today. Flew out to short last time. First pitch in the turf, 1-0 now to the catcher from Appalachian State, Zach Hummel. Zach walked back in the 2nd inning. Had a 3-1 count before he flew out in the 4th. A 1-0 from Crawford. Swung on and missed. Crawford delivers the gas. 1-1 count now to the catcher. Here comes the 1-1 delivery. And checked his swing, did Hummel. Thought about the high heat, did not go around. 2-1 now to the catcher. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. That one's going to be swung on and missed. 2-2 now to Zach Hummel as we went way down low to try to get a piece of that one.
It looks like Hummel swung at that one very late.
Yeah, very awkward swing. Crawford has Hummel all out of his senses. 2-2. Crawford winds and delivers. Just missing outside, up and high. 3-2. Another full count from Crawford. Crawford in his last full count delivered a walk. Here comes the 3-2. That one's going to be fouled away. We'll do it again. Payoff pitch 2.0 coming for Zach Hummel. We're here in the top of the 7th inning. The Xenia Scouts lead the Hamilton Joes by a score of 6-2. There's 2 outs and none on for the Joes with a full count. Payoff pitch. That one's going to be fouled away again. So a long at back for Zach Hummel, and this at bat might do the day for John Crawford. We see Thomas Wanning actually throwing in the Scouts bullpen. And here comes the third, 3-2. Here it comes. And that one misses high. He walks Hummel for the second time today, and the inning will continue.
That's just the fourth walk on the day for Crawford, so he's going to have to make sure he can set down R.J. Thompson.
R.J. Thompson is 0 for 1, has walked in this contest. He worked his way to a full count last time he was up. And then he flew out to Austin Orr when he came to the first baseline, calling off Cale Giddings. Hummel gets his lead at first. First pitch from Crawford. Curves right back into the zone. Slithers back in there like a beautiful snake. 0-1 now to R.J. Thompson. Zach Hummel gets his lead at first. Scouts trying to get out of the top of the 7th inning. Next pitch misses well outside. 1-1 to the left fielder. 7 innings would tie the season high that Crawford has pitched in the game this year. 1 out away from matching that feat. 2 outs for the Joes. 1-1 count to the 9-hole hitter, R.J. Thompson, the Bearcat from Cincinnati. 1-1. Finds the inside corner. Good pitch. R.J. Thompson admits it. Shakes his head in agreement with the home plate umpire after that call.
There's not much else you can do when it goes right down Broadway.
R.J. Thompson has to step in the box again. Looking for his first hit of the ball game. Went 0 for 4 against the Scouts yesterday. 1-2 pitch. And that gets him swinging. R.J. Thompson goes down looking, flicks his bat in frustration, but it doesn't matter as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Joes leave 1 on. And the Scouts still lead by a score of 6-2. Joes down to the last 6 outs of the contest.
And that's a great way to get out of that one from Crawford. He allowed Hummel to reach base with the walk, but otherwise did a great job that inning. He got Sterling to fly out, Chad Jacob to ground out to Austin Orr at second, and then got Thompson to go down swinging, and Thompson's struggles against these Scouts continue.
And John Crawford is only allowed 1 hit in innings 2 through 7 in today's game. And that one, of course, the big home run to Jake Zimmerman.
Yeah, Crawford has done absolutely amazing out on that hill. He's, like you said, just giving up those couple of hits to the Joes, and that's an impressive feat in of itself whenever you only allow a few hits. But against a team like the Joes that just destroy the baseball when they're in that batter's box, it just speaks to how good of a pitcher Crawford is.
Lance and I were talking yesterday after the Scouts gave up, I believe, 9 hits to the Hamilton Joes. A very impressive outing. We thought the pitcher staff did pretty well in the game yesterday. We're at only 3 hits given up tonight. An unbelievable performance from John Crawford, the all-star for the Xenia Scouts, making his 6th start of the season. I don't know if he's made a better one.
And you look at those hits, of course, like we said, the one was off the bat of Zimmerman in that 4th inning for that solo shot, but the other 2 were the first 2 batters of the game in Neff and Boyce. So outside of that 1 pitch to Zimmerman, he settled down incredibly well.
Absolutely. Pretty unbelievable stat. He's given up 1 hit since the second batter of the contest. As we're heading to the bottom of the 7th inning, Lance, who's coming up for the Baby Blue.
Coming up for the Scouts, it'll be 3-4-5. David Gaunt will lead things off. Then we'll go to the first baseman, Cale Giddings. Then it'll be catcher, Lincoln Reed.
Chris Sherrick still on the mound for the Hamilton Joes, trying to get his 4th inning under his belt. Scouts up 6-2 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. David Gaunt at the plate. First delivery from Sherrick in the nucleus of the strike zone. 0-1 now to David Gaunt. David, who's 2 for 3 today. Singles in his last 2 appearances. Watches next pitch not break well enough. 1-1 evened up to the all-star catcher who's in the DH role tonight. We're going to go home for the Scouts, and they've come out in a big way. 1-1 from Sherrick. Misses up top again. 2-1 now to the patient David Gaunt. Second on the team to now former Scout Christian Binger. So I guess that makes David Gaunt now first on the team in walks. 2-1 from Sherrick. That one drops right into the strike zone. Fell off the table into the zone for a 2-2 count. David Gaunt trying to lead off the bottom of the 7th inning with a hit for the Scouts, trying to get his 3rd straight hit. And he Fouls it off his right shoulder. That one has to smart. Might leave a mark.
He'll be okay.
David gone to Ichabod from Washburn University in Topeka, Kansas. David's hometown. I'll step back into the box. He's had an incredible year, about a 322 in the regular season for the Scouts. 2-2 pitch. That one's going to be lined right into the glove of Andy Young. A great swing, a beautiful cut. Right into the waiting glove of the third baseman.
I don't think we've seen this many line outs in a game. And usually we just see those tricklers down towards the corner infielders, but they call it the hot corner for a reason, and Young was ready for that liner from gone.
Quick reflexes from Andy Young as Cale Giddings steps to the plate. First pitch to Giddings. Misses inside on the breaking ball. 1-0 now to Giddings. Here comes the 1-0 from Teixeira. That one's going to be fouled to the left side of the third base bag. Big swing from Giddings. Looks like he's going to replace his bat.
Might have chipped it, or he just wants a different one? No, I just want some pine tar.
Want some pine tar. We don't want to see a Cale Giddings.
I don't want to see what would happen if the bat slipped out of his hands. It'd probably clear the fence.
Yeah, it might be a home run. I don't think it'll be scored as a home run, but we'll score it at home as a home run. Cale Giddings steps back to the plate. 1-1 count. 1 out. 6-2 Scouts. And that breaking ball stays high as well. 2-1 now to Cale. Giddings swings the lumber behind his head. The big righty. And I guess the big righty on the mound. 2-1 pitch, and that one finds the upper part of the strike zone. 2-2 from Chris Teixeira, the Miami Redhawk from nearby Oxford, Ohio. 1 out here in the bottom of the seventh inning. Scouts up 6-2. 2-2 pitch. That one is going to be lifted foul towards the Hamilton bullpen. We do see some pitchers out there for Hamilton. None of them warming up, though.
They're just chilling, I guess.
No, but I do see one warming up. It was covered by some fence, but I did see a ball get thrown. We'll do the 2-2 again from Teixeira. And good eye from Giddings as it falls low and outside. Another full count for Cale, 3-2. Last time Cale faced a full count, he hit a single. And here comes the payoff. That one's going to be fouled right at us. So you can see the stitching spiraling towards our direction.
I was ready to catch it, but there was a fence in the way, a net in the way. Either way, in the way.
I'm pretty glad that that fence is there to block it. Here comes the 3-2 again. That one's going to be chopped right up the middle. Diving stop from Chad Jacob, and off of the bag. Cale Giddings will be on his way to second base. Zach Hummel will not throw it. And Cale with the big slide, looking like he was on a slip and slide falling down. And Cale Giddings is in the second base on the throwing error from Chad Jacob.
That was a great stop by Chad Jacob. Wasn't able to put a great throw on that one from his knees, and that one got past Dupree as Cale slides all the way into second. And you may have seen this on the webcam, but the umpire actually stuck out his arm to signal obstruction because he ran into Dupree when he tried to round first. So had Cale been thrown out at second, he would have been then awarded the base due to obstruction.
And Joe's head coach Dale Grissom coming to the mound. Let's see if that'll do it for the day for Chris Teixeira. Getting some moral support from his infield and Zach Hummel. Cale Giddings on a 3-2. Roping up the middle, something we saw yesterday on a full count. And Cale's lone hit of the game. And that'll do it for Teixeira. And we're going to see who's coming out of the bullpen for the Hamilton Joes. We know it'll be a righty.
We do?
We do, as we see the glove in his left hand as he comes into the game.
Travis Rowland.
Coming to the game for the Joes will be Travis Rowland. So this will be the third pitcher we've seen.
Joes, number 18, Travis Rowland. Rowland entering the game to pitch for the Joes.
Travis Rowland comes in today with a 4.37 ERA. This will be his 12th appearance, all coming out of the pen. Only 12 1/3 innings pitched this season, has 15 strikeouts to 6 walks, an 0-2 record. Travis Rowland is going to be a sophomore, goes to Sinclair Community College. So he was a college teammate of Scouts pitcher John Crawford. Scouts lead by a score of 6-2 here in the bottom of the seventh inning. Scouts started this game, even up the Joes had to put 1 on the board. It was 1-1 after 1. Scouts put 3 on the board in the bottom of the third to make it 4-1. And then the bottom of the 5th inning extended their lead to 6-2 after the Joes put 1 on the top of the 4th.
And the line for Tasherick went 3 1/3 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. But he is, of course, responsible for Cale Giddings, even though he reached by an error.
Rolling a 6'2", 220-pound Tartan from Sinclair. He throws a bit of a sidearm as a very interesting approach, as you'll see on the webcam. Lincoln Reed coming to the dish. 2 errors in the game for the Hamilton Joes. We'll see if the second one will cost them like the first one did.
Come on, Lynx. Hey, I gave him an error. Don't give. It should be 8 man. All right, I'll take the hit away. I gave him a hit and an error.
So Lincoln Reed steps to the dish. First pitch from Roland misses inside, 1-0.
There you go. All right, good.
We'll see if John Crawford comes back in the top of the 8th, but highly unlikely, I would say. 1-0. Finds the inside corner, does Travis Rowland for his first strike of the contest. Cale Giddings sits on second base after the error from Chad Jacob. Made a great stop, but was way out of control on his throw to Kevin Dupree. And that's what puts the big man at 2 with 1 out. 6-2 Scouts. Next pitch finds the outside corner this time. Travis Rowland come into the game working different pitch locations. We're seeing exclusively fastballs from the big righty. Lincoln Reed, 1 for 2 tonight, had that 2 RBI single. Last time he was up, and he pops that one into left field, and we put away from Chad Jacob as Jacob, Young, and Thompson all ran towards it, but the shortstop called everyone off and put it away.
And yeah,
Levi
that was
Gilcrease.
a bit of a bad spot for the Joes, but they were still able to range back and get to that one in short left field. Jacob had to range over and grab it when Young actually fell down to kind of avoid that collision.
Bring Levi Gilcrease, who continued his hit streak tonight to 10 games. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Struck out last time to Chris Tasherick. Now Travis Rowland in the game. Here comes the pitch from Rowland. That one's inside. 1-0 now to the Baylor Bear. Cale Giddings sitting on second. He was placed there on the air from Chad Jacobs. Scouts lead 6-2 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Travis Rowland gets this pitch, throws the 1-0. Makes that 2-0 as that one misses low. Scouts tripling up the Joes in this contest, trying to beat Hamilton for the first time this season. 0-5 against the Joes coming into today. 2-0 pitch. Downman misses well outside in the turf. 3-0 Levi Gilcrease, who we know will be taking here at 3-0. They will not be like Andy Young at the plate and swing on the 3-0 pitch. That I can promise you.
You can promise me that?
Yeah, I can probably promise that.
You're probably right. Just wanted to see what you'd say.
That's the Coach K's philosophy. 3-0, right down the middle. And if there was the pitch to swing at a 3-0, that was it. 3-1 now to Levi Gilcrease. And he's taking all the way there. Now at 3-1, does have the green line. We'll see if he swings away. Travis Rowland on the rubber, standing in the middle of a 3-1 pitch. And that one misses outside. Levi Gilcrease thought about it for a second. We've seen a few times this year Scouts throw their bat, have to re-grab it after a late strike is called. That time it's a walk, and now runners on first and second with 2 outs. First walk of the night for Travis Rowland in his second batter faced. Here comes Wyatt Hogan to the dish. 0 for 2 tonight with a walk as well. Back when Zach Carey was in the game. Tonight's starting pitcher. First pitch, and it's going to be swung. Hit towards center field. Daniel Neff camping under it. And he'll put it away. Wyatt Hogan put away for the second straight time from Daniel Neff, and 2 Scouts will be left on base. And we head to the top of the 8th inning.
What?
And we see John Crawford coming back to the rubber. Coach K's definitely getting the most out of his lefty.
I'm saying pitch count. If he walks.
So John Crawford stepping up to the rubber as we wipe off the pellets in front of them. Scouts leading by a score of 6-2. Lance, are you a little surprised to see Crawford out there?
I'm definitely more than a little surprised after we saw Wanning was getting very loose out in the bullpen. And our stats guru, Jeff Connor, said his pitch count is right around 97.
Wow.
So I'd have to think the leash is very short. He's going to have to definitely not walk a single batter if he wants to get through this inning, because if he does, I'd have to think he's pulled right after that.
I don't even know if he's on a leash anymore. I think they're grabbing him by the collar. As soon as we see the first sign of distress for John Crawford, I think Coach Cates goes to his pen and Thomas Wanning. We do know that Joe Chasen not listed tonight. So expect Thomas Wanning, maybe Tony Campbell later in this contest coming in for relief. Scouts leading 6-2. Hamilton Joes down to the last 6 outs of this ball game. Xenia Scouts need to win if they want to keep their season alive. Scouts still on their first pitcher. We just saw Travis Rowland come into the game for the Hamilton Joes. He was their third. Lance, who we coming up for the Joes here in the top of the 8th inning.
Coming up for the Joes, it will be right back at the top of the order with Daniel Neff, Jackson Boyce, and Andy Young.
Center fielder number 3.
Daniel Neff, the center fielder, coming up. He's 1 for 3 today. Scored one of the Joes 2 runs in this contest. Single back to start off this game in the top of the first inning. Crawford steps on the rubber, throws home. First pitch right down the breadbasket. 0-1 now to Daniel Neff.
That's a new one.
Throw him out there. And here comes the 0-1 to Daniel Neff. Now once we chop foul towards third base, 0-2 now. Crawford working aggressively right in the middle of the zone, trying to get out Daniel Neff for the third straight time. Neff came in to the playoffs, batting .361 on the season, one of 5 All-Stars in the starting 9 for the Hamilton Joes. Crawford also looking for that 5th strikeout of the day. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That one liner right into the awaiting glove of Jake McJilton, who squats down and puts it away. And down goes Neff for the third straight time.
We got Neff to go down on 3 pitches, so about as low as you can hope after he fouled off a couple other ones.
And brings up Jackson Boyce, who also hasn't had a hit since back in the first inning. 1 for 3 today. Flew out to Wyatt Hogan and left the last time he was up. That ended the top of the 5th inning. Scott's in the top of the 8th, up 6-2. First pitch from Crawford right down the center. 0-1 now to the second baseman. And here comes the 0-1. That one in there again. Strike 2.
Crawford is going right at these hitters very aggressively here in this 8th inning.
Crawford looking for his second straight out here in the top of the 8th. He winds and deals, and he gets him looking perfectly painted on the outside corner. That pitch was like a Vincent Van Gogh painting. 2 down here in the top of the 8th.
Crawford doing exactly what he has to do for the first 2 hitters, but now, even though he's 0 for 2 today, this is easily the best hitter in this Joe's lineup in Andy Young, so can't leave one over that middle.
And Andy Young walked last time. Inside corner for a strike. The placement couldn't be better from the lefty, John Crawford.
Go get him, Johnny. Go get Bulldog out there, kid.
Here comes the 0-1 from the southpaw. That one a little too far inside. 1-1 now, evened up to Andy Young, who walked last time on a full count. Scouts up 6-2 here in the top of the 8th inning. 2 outs, none on for the Hamilton Joes. 1-1 from Crawford. That one's going to be foul behind us. 1-2 from Crawford. Transferring to Indiana Tech. Here's the 1-2 to Young. That one's going to be driven towards left field. Wyatt Hogan is not going to be able to get to it, and he slides down. The ball is going to bounce past him. Andy Young is on his way to third right now. Just getting picked up by Levi Gilchrist. He's throwing. Cut off. Not going to be cut off by anyone until John Crawford picks it off as it bounces past both McChilton and Austin Orr. But a sliding triple for Andy Young as Wyatt Hogan gave 100%, slid towards it, but could not grab the ball. Bounced all the way to the left field fence, and Young is in with a triple.
And when there's 2 down like that, you really don't want to take any chances. You just want to make sure you get in front and stop that ball. You can't really worry about getting that one into the glove when it's in a tricky spot like that. You just got to make sure you stay in front of that and keep exactly what just happened from happening.
That's the first hit given up since the 4th inning. The home run through Jake Simmer. Now Kevin Dupree at the plate. First pitch from Crawford. And there for a strike. You have to think is how hard that ball is hit. If Hogan does not slide, that might only be a single for Andy Young. 0-1 to Dupree. Swung and missed. Big swing from the first baseman. The lefty tried to take it on a ride to the short porch in right field, the shortest part of Grady's field. It was about 317. Next pitch to Dupree. A little bit low. 1-2 now to the mid-Tennessee State Blue Raider. Dupree 0 for 2 today with a sac fly RBI. 1-2. That one just tipped off of his ankle. We'll do it again at 1-2. John Crawford, 1 strike away from getting out of the top of the 8th inning. Will love to leave Andy Young stranded in scoring position at third. Crawford with the delivery. And that once we foul back to the backstop. We'll do it again at 1-2. Third time at 1-2 now for Kevin Dupree. Only once in this game have the Joes left a runner stranded in scoring position. Next pitch gets him swinging. Kevin Dupree goes down, and John Crawford with the start of a lifetime. Seven strikeouts for John Crawford. Unbelievable. What a ball game. We're heading to the bottom of the 8th, folks. The Xenia Scouts lead by a score of 6-2.
And you just saw what I wrote down on my piece of paper in front of me in my scorebook. I wrote down Crawford as player of the game, and I told Dewey to go make sure that we can keep him for a post-game interview because usually he has to book it right afterwards. But after a performance like this, we're going to have to talk to him.
John Crawford, who we have not got to speak to this season, would have won player of the game a few times. It's a number of good starts. Our scoreboard and PA announcer Dewey Doval going down and talk to coach. Hopefully Crawford stays. John Crawford does live an hour and a half away in Wapakoneta, Ohio.
Hopefully he can stay for a couple minutes.
I hope so as well.
Nice. If not, we'll roll with it.
As we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Scouts up by a score of 6-2. Travis rolling back in the game for the Joes. And Lance, who's coming up for the Xenia Scouts?
Coming up for the Xenia Scouts will be Jake McJones, so he'll be a future teammate of Roland as they both go to Sinclair Community College. He will be transferring into there this season. Then it'll be Jonathan Bravo and Austin Orr. And we've confirmed that will be okay, and we will be able to keep Crawford for a post-game interview.
Excellent. Jake McJilton at the plate, trying to get his first hit of the contest. The delivery from Roland misses a tad outside. 1-0 now to the shortstop. And now here comes the 1-0. That one finds his own 1-1, evened up to McJilton. We're here in the bottom of the 8th inning, folks. Scouts lead by a score of 6-2. Tripling the Hamilton Joes need to win this game to stay alive. 1-1 to McJilton. Swung in, tipped backwards into the netting in front of us. 1-2 now to McJilton. Travis Rollins, the third pitcher of the day for the Hamilton Joes, and we do see them warming some pitchers up in their bullpen right now. See a righty warming up out there. 1-2 to Jake. That one gets him looking. I think he thought the breaking ball stayed a bit high, but he watches strike 3 come across the plate. One down here with no on in the bottom of the 8th inning.
And as you say, you can't take one that's too close with 2 strikes, and that's exactly what happened to McJilton. as he comes back down to earth a little bit as he's going 0 for 4 today.
Now official inning in the book for Travis Rowland. Now facing Jonathan Bravo. First pitch to Jonathan misses a tad outside. 1-0 now to the right fielder who walked last time.
Yeah, Bravo 0 for 2 today with that walk back in the 6th inning.
Here comes the 1-0 from Rowland. That one misses well outside. No question about that one. Now 2-0 to Jonathan. Got a 90-foot stroke last time he was at the plate. Would love to get another one here. Start off the bottom of the 8th inning. Trying to get a one-out rally going for the Scouts. Add on to the 6-2 lead they currently have. 2-0 from Rowland. And that one just misses. 3-0 now to Bravo, and he will be taking here.
And Rowland didn't miss that one by too much. Just a little too low, just beneath the knees.
Jonathan Bravo steps into the box. The Rio pitch. That one finds his own. 3-1 now to Jonathan Bravo. Bravo started the year at second base, moved to left field for most of the season, now playing in right. 3-1 from Rowland, and that one misses outside. Second walk of the night for Travis Rowland.
Back to the top.
That puts Jonathan Bravo on first base with a walk for a second straight time.
Second baseman number 9, Austin Orr.
And that brings up Austin Orr to the plate. Austin 1 for 4 today. Had a bunt single back in the first inning. Jonathan Bravo stands at first. First pitch, he shows bunt. Pulls back, but inside nonetheless. 0-1 now to the second baseman, Austin Orr.
We have already seen Austin Orr bunt for a base hit single. That was way back in the first inning.
Bravo gets his lead. Rowland on the mound. The righty looks home, throws. That one misses outside. Evened up at 1-1 to the second baseman, Austin Orr. One out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Scouts up 6-2. Joes will come back in the road half of the 9th. 3 outs away the Scouts are from evening up this series. Here comes the 1-1 with 1 out. Bravo fakes on the move. Young picks up at third, throws to second. Now Boyce to first. In time. A 5-4-3 double play. And that's going to end the inning. Beautiful play from Andy Young. Gets it to Jackson Boyce, his all-star teammate, then to Kevin Dupree in the 5-4-3. Ends the host of the Scouts adding some insurance runs.
Number 12, Thomas
And we head to the 9th.
Wani.
Big Blues hoping they won't need any of those insurance runs as Thomas Wani comes in the 9th
Third baseman.
with a 4-run lead.
The final line for Johnny Crawford went 8 innings strong, gave up just 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks to go with 6 strikeouts. And those hits he gave up weren't entirely on him. He gave up the 2 to Neff and Boyce to start off the ball game, then didn't give up a hit until the 4th inning off a solo shot from the bat of Jake Zimmerman, who has been doing that all season long, so you can't fault him too much for missing on that one pitch. But then a triple from Andy Young could have easily been a single, could have been potentially an out if you played a little better, and can't put that one on him too much because in all likelihood, if nothing else, that should have been a single, but because of the bad misplay from Wyatt out there and left, it turned into a triple because Levi had to run all the way over from center field just to grab that one in time.
Lance, who's coming up this side for the Joes?
For the Joes,
It will be Hunter Owen to lead things off. After him, it will be Jake Zimmerman, who I just mentioned hit that solo shot back in the 4th. And then it will be Chad Jacob, who has struck out twice today and grounded out to Austin Orr back in the 7th.
Oh, Thomas Wanning on the mound. Second pitcher we've seen from the Scouts. Thomas throws the sidearm, but we have seen him throw over the top a few times recently. Now from the sidearm, and that one misses outside to Hunter Owen.
Owen is a very good hitter. Hit .355 this season, but is 0 for 3 today.
Next pitch misses outside as well. 2-0 now to Hunter Owen. Thomas bends down on his waist, delivers the 2-0. That one's going to be fouled off the plate. 2-1.
And that was fouled off of Owen, but he took a little while to signal that one. Did Penix behind the plate? And that's something you got to signal right away because they were fielding it until they called foul ball.
Thomas comes into this game with a 6.83 ERA. Next pitch finds the outside corner, evens it up at 2-2 to Hunter Owen. Thomas went 1 inning against the Grand Lake Mariners. Didn't give up any hits in that playoff game. 2-2 from Thomas. That one's going to be grounded towards second base. Austin Orr picks it up and throws it to first in time. You wouldn't think this was Austin Orr's first start at second base of the season after that play.
Yeah, I think he got all of his jitters out in pregame warm-ups during BP. Actually playing a little first during BP, just, something for me to do before the broadcast. And he had a couple that were way off, but otherwise looked very good. So I think he got all those nerves out before the game started.
And brings up Jake Zimmerman, the big DH, and he has a big cup. He gets a whole lot of wind. And now 0-1 to Zimmerman.
And if you're Thomas, you keep that ball down at his knees. And if it goes above the knees, you messed up.
And here comes the 0-1 from Thomas. Finding the outside corner.
And he popped up with the different motion just to kind of throw things up. If he can do that simultaneously, that's very tough for hitters to pick up on. And
Zimmerman will take time at the plate. Thomas winding quickly up 0-2. And Jake Zimmerman, who came into the playoffs batting .390, went 0 for 4 yesterday. 1 for 3 so far today with that big home run, so 1 for 7 in this series. Jake Zimmerman comes to the dish. Scouts 2 outs away from their first win against the Joes of the year. Thomas Wanning bends at his waist, raises high, delivers the next pitch, and he gets him swinging. Thomas Wanning with the strikeout.
And that's something we haven't said a whole lot of times this year. That's just his 10th on the entire summer, and he just had one of the biggest strikeouts of his season to set down Zimmerman. Scouts just 1 out away from extending this series.
And the crowd stands to their feet as Chad Jacob comes to the plate. First pitch to the shortstop, misses a bit low. 1-0 now to Chad Jacob, who's 0 for 3 today. Wanting bends down, digs in, races and throws home. That one misses high. 2-0 now to Chad Jacob. Zach Hummel on deck. He was walked twice today. 2 outs, 6-2 Scouts lead. 0-2 pitch. Finds the strike zone. 1-2 now to Chad Jacob. 2-1 count. And here comes the 2-1 pitch. That one's going to be chopped. And is that one going to stay fair? Thomas Wanning picks it up, throws to first, and it's going to bounce off of the elbow of Chad Jacob.
They called a foul?
Oh, they're ruling a foul now.
That was a late call.
That was a very late call.
I mean, I'll take it because that would have resulted in Jacob being safe, so no complaints here.
I think everyone in the stadium thought that one was a fair ball, including Chad Jacob. He took a ball at the elbow as well for his efforts.
I think that's exactly what Thomas Wanning was thinking. Okay, if this is going to stay fair, I got to make a play on it. That's what he tried to do, and it just happened to go off the elbow of Jacob.
Oh, we'll do it again at 2-2. Thomas Wanning, 1 strike from saving the Scouts season and playing Game 3 tomorrow at Foundation Field in Hamilton. Wanning digs in, throws the 2-2. That one misses up top. We have a full count, folks. The drama has built to its climax. The payoff pitch isn't coming. The Scouts trying to get the first victory of the Joes of the season. Thomas throws the 3-2, and that one misses outside. It's going to be a walk for Chad Jacob, who is still grabbing at that elbow.
And they got Ben Havel coming up to the plate as a pinch hitter. He'll come into the game for Zach Hummel.
So Ben Havel coming to the game.
Entering the game to pitch hit for the Hamilton Joes, number 9, Ben Havel.
Ben Havel, a big, intimidating presence. I'd say he stands about 6'5", 6'6".
At least.
Chad Jacob on first base. Wanting bends over, throws home, finds the strike zone. 0-1 now to the big Ben Havel. Scouts 1 out away from victory here at Grady's Field. Next pitch is lined, just foul. Ben Havel goes oppo, but cannot find that right field foul line, and is now down 0-2. Thomas Wanting again 1 strike away from gaining the victory for the Baby Blues. Scouts up 6-2 here in the bottom of the 9th inning. 1 on, 2 outs, 0-2 count at the dish. Thomas Wanting bends over, throws home. That was a check swing. He did not go. Ben Havel did not go, much to the oohs and ahs to those in attendance here at Grady's Field.
Come on, Thomas. Come on, baby.
1-2 count. Thomas Wanting bends over, looks home, throws. That one's going to be fouled backwards. Ben Havel staying alive. A great effort at the plate from the designated hitter. Excuse me, the pinch hitter, Ben Havel. Usually we see him in DH spot. I don't think we put him at catcher. So, at 6'7", I say that's a very unlikely shot. 1-2. That one's going to be ripped into center field. Levi Gilchrist on his horse, but he's going to watch it bounce past him. It's going to get past Levi. That's Havel's rounding second. And Jacobs rounding third and will score. So an RBI double off of the bat from the pitch hitter, Ben Havel, and the lead is cut to 3. As we look for another pinch hitter here, but we will not see one. R.J. Thompson coming up to the plate.
Now batting left fielder number 2, R.J.
So the Joes cut the lead with 2 outs still on the scoreboard, trailing 6-3. Ben Havel standing on second after the RBI double.
And if you're wanting, you have to get Thompson out because you do not want to play around with going back to the top of the order here.
And I hate to be that guy, but Thomas Wanting was on the mound when the Scouts lost that game to the Southern Ohio Copperheads 8-7 when they had a 7-2 lead going to the bottom of the 9th inning. First pitch to Thompson right down the middle for a strike. 0-1 to the Bearcat. Thomas Wanting spent this last year at Xavier University. R.J. Thompson from the University at Cincinnati. A big rivalry between the Musketeers and the Bearcats. Thomas now at Lincoln Trail Community College. 0-1. And that was when he popped up to Thomas, and he's going to throw it to first in time, and that will do it. The Scouts get the victory by a score of 6-3, and the season will continue. The summer is not over for the 2015 Xenia Scouts.
That's exactly what the Scouts had in mind coming into the day. They didn't want the summer to end right here, and it will not if the Scouts get their first win of the season over these Hamilton Joes, and that means we're going to go back to Foundation Field tomorrow night for a chance to play the winner of the series between the Licking County Settlers and the Lima Locos.
I'll try to get a quick score update from that game. As we mentioned, that one had a late start. Being played at Don Edwards Field, it is Lima Locos up 4-1 on the Licking County Settlers. So it looks like the Licking County Settlers, 3-time defending championship reign might be coming to an end unless they can come back against the Lima Locos. But back here at Xenia, the Scouts get their first victory of the Hamilton Joes here in game number 6 between the two teams. But hey, better late than never, Lance.
Better late than never indeed, Terry, as the Scouts find a way to come out on top with a win. And I said those things that needed to happen was we needed Crawford to pitch a gem, or we needed Carnahan and David going to have big nights. And they each had a pretty good game. They each went 2 for 4, but they didn't have a wow kind of night that we've seen in the past from both of those players. We've seen it out where Kyle Carnahan's went 5 for 5 with a game. We've seen him also have 2 home runs in a single game. We've seen David Gaunt have a couple home runs in a game as well. So we've seen them each have big games, but they didn't have a giant game that we've seen in games past. As now we have Johnny Crawford on the headset. Nice game, dude.
As John Crawford will put on the headset. I'll scoot back a little bit. John, congratulations on the first play of the game. First time I'm going to talk to you this year. You've had a number of good performances. Finally get to speak. 8 innings of unbelievable baseball coming into today. Did you think you were going to go 8 innings?
No, man. I just tried to go as long as I could, honestly.
So you had no idea coming from Coach Cates about how long you were expected to go today?
Nope, I've been rested, and I told him I could go as long as he needed me for. So it just worked out well. My arm felt good, and everything was working today.
Over 100 pitches today. How's that arm feeling right now? Tell us about a little bit of soreness if anything's going on over there.
I think it's more adrenaline right now. I don't really feel much at all. I'm sure I'll wake up tomorrow morning and not be able to move.
You did well against the Joes the first time you pitched against them, too. Only gave up 2 earned runs in that game. This is the best hitting team in the entire league. Is there anything different for you if your approach against the Hamilton Joes that's kind of set you aside from most pitchers in the league?
I think it's more of a mentality than anything. I know these guys were really good. I played with some of them in the All-Star game, and I know some of these guys can really hit. And you have to be on your game at all times, and you have to locate.
I hate to bring it up, but we got to talk about the big home run you gave up in the 4th inning. But how you responded to that was probably one of the most impressive parts of the game. What's your mentality after watching the ball fly over left field and then coming back and just sitting down the Joes?
Honestly, I didn't even look at it because I knew it was out as soon as it went off the bat. I think it was over the scoreboard even, but I had to just come back and forget about it. Something like that happens. You just have to clear it and you have to move on, and that's what I tried to do.
All right, moving forward, when's the next time you think we might be able to see you back on the rubber?
Hopefully early next week. I don't know when the games are scheduled for, if we make it past the Joes tomorrow. But I'll be good whenever Coach needs me, and I'll get my rest in, and hopefully next week should be good to go.
All right, John, thank you so much. Congratulations on one of the best pitching performances we've seen all season long. John Crawford, today's player of the game. He'll give the headset back to Lance Morris. Not enough you can say about that performance from John Crawford against the best hitting team in the league, the Hamilton Joes. The first victory for the Scouts this season against Hamilton, and there's no way the Scouts could have got it done without John.
That's absolutely right. We said before, we've kind of hit this time and time again during the broadcast, but we needed either Johnny to pitch a gem or a great game from the hitters. We had a pretty good game from the hitters. We didn't have an amazing game like we saw a couple of days ago when they put 14 runs on the board. So I think we'll settle for the 6 runs we got here today, but it wouldn't have happened if we didn't see an amazing start from Johnny Crawford on the hill.
And 6 runs, that ties the most the Scouts have scored against the Joes this season. That was back in the first game against the Hamilton Joes. A little different feeling after the game after that one when they gave up the 3-run shot in the top of the 9th, the go-ahead homer from Andy Young. Scouts do not have any late runs given up, are able to get the victory. Go back to Foundation Field tomorrow. 1-1 series. Lance, what are your expectations down tomorrow at Hamilton?
Well, we now are probably 99.99% sure that Will Cruz will get the start tomorrow. We didn't see him come in any of these playoff games in relief, so I have to think Will gets the ball to start off tomorrow, and he's going to be ready to go. He hasn't pitched in quite a while. He's struggled in his last couple of starts as well, so I'm sure he's as eager as ever to make what could be his final start of the summer a good one.
And his dad's down here. Has been here the last few days waiting to watch his son pitch. We'll get that opportunity tomorrow night down in Hamilton. Will did start against the Joes once at Foundation Field. That started to not go so well. Definitely looking back for some redemption. But back here tonight is 6-3 victory for the Xenia Scouts. They were unbelievable tonight. 8 unbelievable innings off of the arm of John Crawford, who only gave up 4 hits in tonight's contest. This is Lance Morris. I'm Terry Lash. Thank you again for listening to Xenia Scouts Baseball. Our summer is continuing. Luckily, the ride keeps to go on, and we'll be on air tomorrow night at 7:05 down at Foundation Field. Be sure to check Twitter and Instagram and Facebook for updates and xeniascouts.com, as our staff guru Jeff Connor has tonight's game recap story. And it's been a wild ride, and we're lucky it gets to continue. One final time, the score is 6-3. The Scouts get their first victory of the Joes. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Good night, and God bless.